Truly, the reign of the unpaid nobodies will last forever.
Should we make like a whole anthem for us?
We should. It could be our intro. Which, speaking of which, Purvis, we're
Oh boy.
alive. Like,
Are we gonna put in One Nation Under God? Our
no,
anthem? Okay.
no,
All right, no.
hard no. It's more because of the anthem than God, but
Fair enough.
it's both.
We still need we need some introduction music. Dude, we
Yeah,
just need to get and start making beats, honestly.
yeah, that'd probably be the best for us. Oh, welcome to the show, everybody. We got a long one this week.
Very no, I'm just playing. It's gonna be good. I'm
This is a
excited.
good one. This is a very exciting topic. We're going to be talking about some of our favorite producers today.
I'm expecting at least 15 side conversations.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of which, let's just dive right into the news so we can get to this.
Just get right into the real show.
Yeah.
All right. I'll jump it off. First one I'm very excited for.
Yeah.
A Kid Named Cudi is coming to streaming platforms.
So excited. Way more hype than this than the greatest hits.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well the thing about the greatest hits is that like I have a playlist with every single Kid Cudi song on it.
So
Like,
you already had.
why would I listen to the greatest hits when I could just listen to that? All I did was I took Love off the greatest hits and I put it on that playlist. Like,
and man, what a great addition.
Yeah. Oh, an excellent addition. Definitely the song I've been listening to the most this week. Like,
Oh, since man, we are already off topic, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go into it.
Oh,
Man, dude,
I've been listening
I
to so
feel
much
like
Kid Cudi.
I feel like it's been a month since our last episode because like all I've been doing is listen to the same stuff over and over. Like I can't believe it's only been a week, bro. I think I've listened to the Kid Cudi one or at least like 5 or 6 times, and then Wasteland. Brandon, I'm not joking when I tell you that's one of the albums of the year. I'm serious.
You're gonna be
I'm
really
so
disappointed
serious.
in me.
Ah, dude, I'm
Not yet.
telling
I haven't
you,
listened to it yet. I will be. I will be listening to it.
bro. I'm telling you, Wasteland. I think I've listened to that album like 10 times already. Like I've
Okay.
listened to it every single day.
Okay. You know
It's
what?
really good.
I'll put it on tonight while I read.
You may not be able to read.
Yeah.
It's actually really good though. I will
I don't
say,
doubt it. Everyone's saying it's very good. Like, it's not like something I'm hearing a lot of negative feedback on.
yeah, it's got a good structure, good plot to it. Like the skits are crazy, the interludes are great. Even the songs. Remember, how I was like kind of ranting one of the episodes that like I hate that it's gonna be a bunch of songs we already heard.
Yeah.
But like it fits in very well, and you almost forget about it.
Yeah. Well, I do like all the songs that were previously released.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's only going up from there.
Okay.
But
I'll have
enough
to
about
listen to
my
that.
yeah, enough about my little rant.
Okay.
Another album that's coming out is an album called Gangster App, and it's being released by the label CMG, which is led by Yo Gotti. Before I move on to the other ones, do you know anything about Yo Gotti?
Not really. I know he drives the same car as Joe Manchin.
What a very interesting detail. But I was gonna say, like,
Isn't that weird? Isn't that weird that a senator drives the same car as Yo Gotti? Anyway, continue.
It's a little weird. I guess it's a little
Kind of like it's kind of weird that he has all that money. I wonder where he's getting it from, and I wonder if that affects his voting record. Anyway, continue.
We're not getting political. What the fuck?
Welcome to Unpaid Politics, everybody.
Oh hell no! But the only reason I added this, Brandon, I don't care about this album, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
But I listened.
it's certainly interesting.
I listed all the people here. There's at least 10 names here, maybe more.
And
I know 2 of them.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, who hasn't heard Little Papa?
In Mosey, Layla Samia,
Yeah.
10%. I don't know who any of these people are. And I wanted to throw this in because I kind of forget.
There's a third rapper with Boogie in their name. Like,
Yes, there's a rapper, Big Boogie. I'm not even joking. But like, the only name I recognize is 42 Doug
yeah,
and
that was
Moneybag Yo. That is it.
Yeah.
How like important is a label to a person's career? Like, Jesus Christ. I feel like they're just gonna go in the gutter because no one knows who Yo Gotti is. At least I don't. and I don't know many people who talk about him.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it could just be like our cultural circle. Like maybe he's bigger in other parts of the country. But
Maybe.
like, yeah, I mean, whose favorite rapper is Yo Gotti?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
Yeah.
That's how that's how I think about stuff. Like who is listening to French Montana? I need to know who.
Dude, we gotta do an entire episode. That's like, you ever heard Serial?
Like no.
It's like investigative journalism. It's like we do an investigative report on like who is listening to French Montana. Also, Yo Gotti has a song with Megan Thee Stallion and Little Uzi Vert I like.
Okay. I guess it's
one song. It's one song. It doesn't count for anything.
You know what's insane? He's on the song Champions, which is one of the songs I was going to bring up later.
Interesting.
Huh. Well, shut up. No, I'm just playing. No one knows who this is.
Yeah. No one cares about Yo Gotti. What if
I don't know.
He hears this and hates us?
So what? I'm not affected. But this is one you brought up to me, DJ Premier. Do you know anything about this?
Did I bring this up to you?
Yeah, you sent it to me on Twitter. I'm pretty sure you did Twitter or Instagram. You sent me.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Like, he has and some other stuff.
Yeah. So DJ Premier is releasing it's a project. It's only 5 songs, and it's a lot of modern artists kind of throwing back to classic hip hop. So it's called Hip Hop 50, and it's it's apparently like a like there's going to be 10 different EPs in the series that will have like different producers on it, like Swiss Beats, DJ Mustard, The Dream, Mike Will Made It, No ID, Hit Boy. All of them will have their own version of this, like throwing back to like a different time in hip hop. And this one has Joey Badass on one song, Remy Ma and Rhapsody on another song, Nas on the third song, Run the Jewels on the fourth one, and then probably the most interesting one is Lil Wayne and Slick Rick.
Brandon, tell me who Slick Rick is.
Slick Rick is like one of the first rappers to ever blow up, like back in like the late 70s.
Yeah, but like,
I'm not saying the dude's relevant. I'm saying like from like a historical, like it's interesting. I didn't even know
he is important.
Yeah, like it's like he's an important figure, and like I think the juxtaposition between him and Lil Wayne is interesting. Like putting those two together.
That's going to be a very big jump in age, but I feel like okay. This could mean nothing because I literally just said I don't really know who Slick Rick is.
Yeah.
But like if he is somebody who blew up back in the day, I feel like kind of focused on the lyricism.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see the mixture between him and Lil Wayne, who's like one of the greatest lyricists of at least our generation.
Yeah. So like he is he was like one of the first people to get like hits that were hip hop. So like his songs The Show and La Di Da Di. La Di Da Di Da. It all came out in like the mid 80s, 85.
Before my time?
Yeah. Like La Di Da Di is one of the most sampled songs in history.
Wow.
Yeah.
I gotta look this up.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was a cool project.
No, yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of blown away. Especially for that song at least.
Yeah.
Tell
me about this Steve Lacy album, Gemini Rights.
Yes, Steve Lacy is big hype.
I went back, I listened to him. He's real good.
Oh, hell yeah. I know I brought him up before, but
I did a very introductory, like, this is Steve Lacy on Spotify, like, playlist type thing.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I'm into it. Dude has a really good voice.
Thank you. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Because, like, I feel like a lot of people are going to be excited this week.
I also think, like, it's nice to have someone who's not as toxic as some of the people we listen to.
This is true. This is very true. And then your girl.
Lizzo.
I know. Yeah, you're big hype for her.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to listen. I'm going to spend this weekend with my girlfriend, so I'll be listening to this a lot.
Wow.
At least it's good music. Like, it's not bad music. It's just like,
it's good music.
Like that's the thing about Lizzo. It's like, it's good music. It's just like I'm gonna listen to it when I'm with my girlfriend. Why would I listen to it when I'm not with her? Like, God knows, like, can't listen to Kanye around her. Like,
Yeah, it's a little bit. It hits a little different.
I brought that up the other day. She's like, Kanye's not bad. Like, his music's good. Like,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
I will take that as an answer.
yeah. All
Does she
right.
like Lizzo?
Oh, she loves Lizzo.
Oh, yeah, this is perfect. This is easy. Oh, she did an interview recently. Sorry, I'm
I
getting
don't.
way off topic.
I didn't read anything.
No. I'm literally just looking at her page now. Apparently, she did an interview with Apple Music, so maybe that's
Oh,
something I
that'd
have
be
to look.
interesting. She has very interesting insights on the creative process.
Hmm. I feel like I barely know. I've listened to all the music and I've enjoyed most of it, but I don't know anything about like a personality really.
Ugh. All
Might
right.
be
Now, what
around too.
is this rumor that you're spreading around?
Man, bro, if this is true, this is gonna be insane. But there's been rumors I've seen when I gather my news throughout the week. I get it from a whole bunch of different random sources and stuff. So I will not give any form of like what's the word I'm looking for? Officialness or something. I can't even think of the term that I'm looking for right now because I'm blanking out. Like yeah, I've seen multiple different sources come up bringing up this rumor, and they're all pretty valuable sources. I feel like that I've been using for a while. He's supposed to drop an EP called Red and White. I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know where this came from, but like everybody's been talking about it. Like it just snuck up on me. But I'm very excited for that.
I'll see if it happens.
About to say, here's the thing: it's a rumor, and these happen all the time with artists like Playboy, Cardi, Little Uzi Vert, people of that
Yeah.
nature. But it's a bunch of rumors. They have a bunch of leaked songs. You can only hope, but most times it's all a lie.
Man, wild, wild. But then again, that always makes it more satisfying if it does happen. And like that shit has happened. Like
Right. It's few and far between, but when it hits,
it
man,
hits. Yeah.
it definitely hits.
All right. So let's talk about some singles.
Yes.
So
This is one of your boys.
Joey Badass, one of my golden boys. Zip Codes dropping a single tomorrow.
I have a
Uh,
question.
yeah.
How many songs do you think someone should drop before the album comes out?
I don't
Because
know.
isn't this like
This is
three?
a lot. This might be
It's been a
four.
lot.
This might be four.
Okay. This is
Yeah.
a lot.
And he's also been on a lot. Like he was on the Chant song too. Like he's saturating himself into the culture a little bit right now.
You think?
But
I don't know.
no, I don't think it's too much. Just because I think he's relatively well liked. I think he plays very well on just like an app, like on a song. I don't think it's too much yet.
There's something I'm worried about though. Like right now, I don't think he's overdoing it. Like it's not something to be that much of a concern about. But
Yeah.
at some point, as I was just mentioning earlier with the Brad Fayez album, it's gonna take away from that like listening experience.
Yeah.
Like when you listen to an album for that first time, like when we like first obviously it's Kendrick, so it's a big deal. But
Yeah.
like the first time you listen to that Kendrick album and you don't know any song and you don't know what's gonna happen
That's a
next.
special experience for sure.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
like I feel like that's gonna take away from the album, which is why I'm gonna be honest, I haven't listened to a single that is put out.
Oh wow, that's a lot.
Like none of them.
Yeah.
Because I want to like listen to it all at once.
I have not been. They're not in my rotation. Probably just because I'm waiting for the album. But yeah, no, I've listened to them and I've enjoyed them. I've enjoyed them all a lot actually. Now that I think say it out loud. Uh, but yeah, part of me thinks this has to do with the album getting pushed back.
I think so as well.
I think he
I
just
think
wants to get music. I think he like in a show of goodwill, he just wants to get music out in front of people. And like
Mhm.
it's hard to be mad at that strategy. Like
Of course, especially as a
yeah.
fan. Like,
But I
you're
agree
getting rushed
that
with music.
I do agree that at a certain point, like no one wants to get an album and it's all the singles. Even if it's a lot of singles, like,
Right.
you know. But then again, it's interesting because something we always say is like, remember those Chance singles?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Is that we always
I
say
do.
like the best day ever would have been fine if it was just like three of the best songs on that and then all the singles. And I think the point I'm just trying to make is I think the quality of the song overrides that for sure.
Okay.
Because think about it, you only listen to it the first time once. After that, it's kind of all the same.
I feel like that supports my point, but
Yeah,
I do
well,
know what you
I
mean.
don't think you don't have a point. Like, I definitely think you have a point.
Okay.
Yeah, like, I just think that this is, there's multiple ways to look at this.
That's fair. At the end of the road, he's gonna be fine. Like
Yeah.
honestly.
All right.
um.
What is going on with Bobby Schmurder? He's
So
out of jail. He's causing chaos.
it's funny. Like
New York is a
it's funny
Grand Theft
that you
Auto
say
game.
that. That's what I'm saying. It's funny that you say that, but like it's not to the extent that I expected. I was actually waiting for an episode to actually bring up Bobby Shmurda. Because I've been thinking about this for a while, and I kind of hinted at it earlier when I was talking about Yo Gotti's label dropping an album. But like, it is insane how highly hyped he was. Like, I won't say he was overhyped, but like, I feel like I could still go into a club and I can hear the song "Hot Nigga" playing at a club in 2022, and I think that's insane. The influence that he had with just one song, and like people had been waiting patiently for a very long time for him to return. And he's been out of jail for a while, and like no one's heard anything at all. And I think that's weird. And like I know he's been
Uh,
having complications with his like label or something. I heard that like it's messing up some of the releases or something. But like, how is this man staying relevant in jail with a fan base for an extended point of time of him going through jail and he comes out and like literally nothing.
okay.
Like
I
other
got,
people not even bringing him up. I feel like.
I gotta ask because I remember like hearing about Bobby Schmurder getting out of jail, but like
Okay.
when was that specifically?
Let's see. He was released February 23rd of 21, so a little bit over a year ago.
Okay.
Looks like
I mean,
after 6 years.
yeah. So the thing is that like, look, the first 6 months, I'm just gonna give them for like having to adjust their life on the outside.
Right, as it has been six
Yeah,
6 years post COVID.
yeah. So like, look, life has been strange, and then of course there's the process of actually having to make music. Jail's a hard place. I think it's unreasonable to expect someone to have music to get ready to be made when they get out of jail. So I think like the beginning of that creative process was probably less than a year ago. I mean, yeah, it would probably have been like 8 months ago. So like, yeah, like I would sure hope that he pays off the fan base he still has by releasing music this year. I think it's imperative he gets it out before the end of the year. But at the same time, like right now, like I'm not tripping about it.
I don't know. I gotta think about it because, like, I agree it's not something to necessarily trip about or freak out about, but I just find it very interesting
Yeah.
how highly anticipated, considering again, this is for someone that's in jail for 6 years. Like, the fact that he can remain a solid fan base
Yeah.
that are expecting his release and like typically, and I don't know what his circle is like, and I don't know what his resources is like. But I feel like people who were in jail when they come out, there's other artists waiting to build them up. Um, and then like I feel like the easiest example and the most relevant one, the second Young Thug and Gunna is released, there is guaranteed like so much stuff is going to happen for them immediately. Like artists are going to be waiting to work with them. They're going to collab on stuff. There's
Yeah.
going to be new projects. Like they are anticipating to come out and have this hard comeback. Well, I feel like Bobby Shmurda, he came out of jail and there was some footage of like the Migos picking him up in a private jet, and then silence.
Yeah. I mean,
Like not even like any publicity. There's no social media outlet.
I
I don't see much
I
of
think
anything.
that silence is necessary though. Like at least for 6 months, if not a year, to just like adapt to like life outside of jail. Just because like jail is hard. Like, and also like let's be honest, like Young Thug probably has a lot more disposable income, or at least people willing to give him disposable income than Bobby Schmurder. So like he's probably like that's what the court system really gives a shit about. So like I
Okay.
there's a good chance he winds up in one of those cells that looks like a really shitty hotel room. Like
Right.
not to belittle what's going on with slime right now, but that's just my thought. Is that like look, I think he definitely should be getting music out to like. It's not like oh you owe the fans, but it's
You low
you
key.
don't owe a plant water either. But if you don't water it, the shit's not gonna
Right.
grow. You know, like
Exactly.
yeah, you're right. Like you don't have to water your plant. You don't have to do all that. Like there's nothing wrong if you don't want to do that. Or if
There are
and if you and
consequences.
if you can't do that, we should be under like that's where the metaphor breaks down. Is like if he's adjusting to life outside of prison. Okay, like we got to be honest about that. But like, you got to water the plant.
I don't know. It may be another thing that came up in my mind. It may not be entirely his fault, as he has been gone for 6 years, but I feel like there's so much more to being an artist. Just even 5 years ago, I
Yeah,
feel like you mentioned, Drake is almost more of a brand at
yeah.
this point than an artist. Like, there's so
I
much
think
more you need to do past making music, and like I've seen like a few interviews maybe about nothing, but that's it.
so. Yeah, no, it's definitely true that right now, like, it's artists, more brands than they are artists. But like, the other thing is that just because this is occurring to me right now is that I think we need to be careful to understand that like that is not a criticism. Criticism goes on top of that
Mhm.
because like I would argue J. Cole is a brand too. Like when you hear like the association you have between J. Cole and the phrase platinum no features, that's called branding. Like,
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
the fact that you think of that and not any of his specific lyrics, that's his brand. So I I agree with that, but I don't want to make it seem like it's only like the people we think might not be making as good of music, like watering down the genre. It's like, no, this is the result of market forces
yeah,
that affects, even the best talent out today.
I can see that. All right. Yeah.
And now we have two two songs that are out. I have not heard these yet. One because I don't listen to Flo Milli.
Oh, really?
It's just yeah, it's just she's not
I don't
bad.
know why I
She's
thought you
not
did.
she's not bad. I mean, like I'm familiar with her songs because I'm on TikTok and I have ears. But
Hmm.
like, uh, but no, I don't actively listen to Flo Milli.
But you listen to Rico Nasty. I know
I
that.
do listen to Rico
Okay,
Nasty.
okay.
This is the one
Maybe I
where
was
it's like
mixing some up.
I'm actually kind of surprised that like I haven't been served the song yet. Like, because like
No, yeah.
I don't Rico Nasty is not like in my top 10 most streamed artists, but she's certainly in my top 50. Like,
Oh, really? Okay, okay.
yeah,
I got to think about that. I don't know. I haven't really put her like a concept to like a top 50, but I don't think she would be anywhere in my top 50 or anything like that.
that's fine. The title just sends that to you, your top 25.
Oh, I
And
see.
then from there, I'm like, well, who do I listen to just like a little bit more than that? It's like, oh, or a little
It's
bit less.
interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Uh, the weekend, number one, 3 months in a row. I've been
Oh
sad.
boy. It's a good vibe.
It's a
We
good
like
vibe.
the energy.
Ooh.
Although I guess I do have statistics, or I have statistics for Spotify that I
Yeah.
can utilize. So if I
Yeah.
have that, I guess.
Yeah. Spotify gives you their data. So you should be able to use that however you want.
Let's look into it.
All right.
We made
Well,
it.
we made it.
This week we're going to be talking about producers. We've been
Now,
kind of rumoring this before. Sorry, what's up?
I was just saying, yeah, like,
Oh yeah. We kind of rumored it maybe an episode ago that it was an idea that just kind of popped into our head. I feel like, to me personally, producers are just as important as the artists. I feel like for me, when I listen to hip hop music or rap music, I am just as invested into the many things that go into the actual song besides just the lyrics. I guess that would explain why Travis Scott is one of my angel boys.
yeah.
But I just love how a song can come together and really be shaped by the sounds around the actual lyrics. So
Um,
I thought, why not talk about producers?
yeah. I think like the argument shouldn't be like, oh, are producers as important than are they as important as rappers? I think the debate is, are they more important or are they equal?
Honestly, like,
Yeah.
and that's a good mindset to have that I think we both share because, like, in reality, I've always hated
Like,
how when I go to music, like, you always think the artist, which is fine because like it is the artist's song, but like people stop there. They don't even know who be making the beats or like the
yeah.
producers or like the stuff they hear.
Yeah, definitely. And like that's probably, at least to me, like unless you have like a tippity top tier rapper, like I'm remembering the music more often than I am any of the words. And
100%.
also, I think this is true in all genres that the producer is usually the person actually shaping the sound.
Okay, that
Yeah,
yeah, I didn't think about that. That is true.
yeah. So we brought five of our favorite producers.
Six each.
Did we
Is it
bring
six?
six?
We brought six each. We did a lot, bro.
Oh
We
yeah,
kind
we
of got
brought
carried away.
six each.
We
Yeah,
kind
so
of
we,
got carried away.
yeah, that's a weird number to do. Uh,
That definitely was your idea. Now that you say, heck no. And we did six. Okay, all right, bro. Yeah, we did six producers each.
yeah,
We did three songs each, so the six songs total for
yeah,
each
but we're not
producer.
going to talk about every single. We're not going to talk about every single song or every single producer in depth, but we'll fucking see. Uh,
If we get around to it, don't be surprised because I'm not gonna lie, this was fun.
yeah, this
Like
is
actually, like looking up the songs and
yeah,
producers, this was fun.
this was a lot of fun. So, Purvis, I'm going to give you the floor. Why don't you go off the six that you brought?
Okay, I'm just gonna list them. I won't do the songs yet. You can
Yeah,
list yours, and then we'll go from there.
yeah,
My mentality coming into this because you're right. Our original number was probably five, and we was like, I can't stop there,
yeah.
and we ended up extending it. So my thought was to do five actual producers, and then I wanted to do one artist that is also a producer.
Okay.
So what I did was J. Cole, which is the artist who's a producer. He produced a lot of music for himself and other people. Um, Pierre Bourne is one of my favorite producers out there. I think he has the best producer tag. Um, also did Pharrell Williams, who I discovered, Jesus Christ,
Has produced
he is
everything. Like,
he might be like the best producer ever.
yeah,
It's at least debatable. Also did Metro Boomin because he's huge right now.
yeah,
I did The Alchemist because I've been getting into kind of like that little subgenre. I've been talking about that grimy rap.
yeah.
And then I did an absolute classic, Dr. Dre.
Wow. Yeah, you did do a good. You brought a good spread.
Yes, sir.
You got a good spread in. All right. So
Let's get to
my
yours.
mine I just I did my absolute favorites
Okay.
kind of, but that took a lot more introspection than I thought. Like
What do you
like
mean by that?
well, like for example, one of the one one of my like runner ups, like one of my like I almost had him on the list was Plain Pat.
Okay.
Uh, but that was until I looked at the actual production credits for like all those old Kid Cudi songs that I was kind of like using I'm like, oh, Plain Pet like did a bunch of those.
Mm-hmm.
And then I looked back, I'm like, oh, this was actually Dot the Genius.
Yep.
And then it was like, oh, okay. So like for me, like for some of these ones, it's like I've had a pretty good idea of like who they are and like what hands they touched. But like
Okay.
for a couple of them, it was like, oh no, like it was almost like an active discovery.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah. So the ones I brought in, first and foremost is, and I did make sure to bring one in that I was like, okay, this one I kind of want to talk about in the context of him being like a rapper producer.
Okay.
I have two on the list, but one of them I was definitely like thinking it more consciously, and
Okay.
that's LP. You know, I talk about him all the time. He's one of my favorite artists.
I
Uh,
low key expected you to throw him in there.
I would if we talked about our favorite producers. It's like, why wouldn't I? Like,
Of course.
you know, he has a quality of like you know it's an LP beat within fucking seconds that I don't think anyone on this list even comes close to.
Interesting.
You know, like, and that's not to say that like literally all of these don't have their unique sounds. They all do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but just in terms of like the sonic quality of the songs he puts together, they all have like the same wall of noise, very busy, a lot of very intricate details. You know, it sounds like a city soundscape at night. There's a lot of things going on.
I mean, that's a really good way to put it
Yeah,
because I will say for me, I expected you to put LP, but like I personally, I think LP is the person I knew the least about
yeah,
on
that was
like the
me.
whole list.
That was Pierre Bourne for me.
Okay,
Yeah,
so we made a perfect balance. Okay,
yeah.
keep going, keep
Let me
going.
keep going. Okay, so the next one I picked was Rick Rubin. Not because
Legend.
yeah, an absolute legend. Not because he hasn't produced some of the best rap songs of all time, but as I always talk about, I have a huge heart. Like I have a huge past with like rock and metal, and he has a huge influence there too.
That's
You
what
know,
I noticed.
he's produced some of my probably my favorite metal albums of all time. Were all produced by Rick Rubin too,
Okay.
as well as lots of my favorite hip hop albums. I had no idea he was so hands on with Ultra Light Beam. I did some research into that,
Bro,
and
when I saw you put that in,
yeah,
heartbroken.
yeah,
Because I really wanted it.
that's how you feel
You
about
know that's my
Neighbors.
song.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I did steal neighbors from you. I
yeah.
did.
All right,
Okay.
22 episodes in, finally emerges as an actual intentional topic, Mr. Kanye West.
Very true.
Yeah,
An actual, he's meant to be here now.
yeah, he's intentionally here, but honestly with merit. Like, and if I have to, like, look, I as much as I just gushed over LP, at the end of the day, I don't think I could ever put him above Kanye.
Oh yeah,
Like,
it's
he is,
mandatory.
yeah, it's just, and not just how good he is as a producer. And I do think, like, in terms of my opinion on who's the most skilled producer on this list, I would say it's Kanye. Um,
Okay,
but just how long his career has gone on
it's been
and
really
how
ridiculous.
he succeeds like at a micro and a macro level with his production is crazy.
Okay, I have a
Uh,
question.
go ahead.
Did you watch the documentary yet?
I watched the first one. I thought it was good, but a little boring.
Okay, that is very fair. By the way, that is trust me. I had a very similar
Yeah,
look on it.
it was good. It was not bad. It was just it was a little boring. That's all. All right.
Okay, we'll get around to that, but I
Yeah.
do agree 100%.
The next one I have is Elangelo, and this one was just because of his legendary collaboration with the Weekends, you know, and just crafting that very influential sound that is probably my favorite aesthetic out of everyone on here.
So it's interesting that you said that because there's one thing that I noticed between your selection of producers,
Yeah,
except for two of them. I don't think Rick Rubin doesn't count and Kanye West doesn't count. But I feel like your producers is very specific to one or two artists and damn near made the art.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah, that's a very
Like
fair point. I was
Angelo,
like,
when I looked it up, I was like, "This is the weekend. What's my favorite weekend song?" So that's basically how I
yeah,
went into
like I
it.
was gonna be like, what could he possibly say about Dot the Genius and LP?
It's like
But
it's
yeah,
very
that's very,
straightforward.
very
It's
true.
like
Yeah,
this is the artist,
yeah,
like Dr. Genius. This is Kid Cudi. What are my favorite Kid Cudi songs? Like that's how I approach
it was, yeah, it really was that.
it.
Well,
Like everyone but Kanye, and that's only because he's massive.
yeah,
But like the songs that you pick were literally like, okay, what are your favorite Kid Cudi? Like,
yeah, yeah, definitely, and like, yeah, that's definitely it. And as we dive deeper into each of these names, like that'll actually come up specifically with LP. Like, that's actually something I've been thinking about.
okay.
But yeah, then I guess it goes without saying, Dot the Genius is just because of his longtime collaboration with Kid Cudi. You
It's
know,
literally just Kid Cudi, which is fine.
I don't know if it's like just the kind of creative person I am, but me, I'm a lot less. I think it's because I understand like very rarely does great work come from like one person.
Mhm.
So I just have an appreciation for collaboration and how people unlock the greatness in others. Because
Yeah,
that's really what creativity is keys and locks. And like,
I mean, those two things you just said is literally like the whole values of the show.
yeah,
Like we literally just talked about this. It's about collaboration and creative like expression.
yeah,
like having these collabs, like this gifted artist and this gifted producer come together. It's exactly what this show is about. It's like perfectly timed.
yeah. And then my next one is honestly like a very dark reflection of your last one is RZA from the Wu Tang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
All right. So those
We
that's
just
our 12. That's our mighty 12.
man, it's a good list,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because like we, not that we missed people because everyone we put in is very valid and worth
Yeah.
being here, but
Yeah.
there's so many others that we have not included.
I'm not gonna lie. You have at least two that were gonna be on my list,
Same
and
with you.
two more that I considered. Like
There we
I,
go.
because like low key, like Pharrell Williams is one of my favorite producers.
And there's a reason. Like I
Yeah.
just saw a stat. It's crazy. Everything's perfect timing with what's been going on with the podcast. But I just saw a stat online saying I forgot what year it was, but it was the early 2000s. Pharrell Williams was responsible for producing 43% of the music that was on the radio. How insane is that?
That it's nuts.
Like, talk about influence. Like, you literally made a freaking culture. That's insane.
All right.
That's insane to me.
So do we want to start with like Pharrell then?
Yeah, we can
So
start with
start with
Pharrell.
Pharrell, and then we'll bounce to one of mine and back and forth.
All right, give me your songs.
So songs I picked for Pharrell were was one that I had no idea that he made, which was "Objects in the Mirror"
Okay.
off movies with watching movies with the sound off.
hmm
And I think a huge reason I don't think that is because I don't think it has the four at the beginning.
Yep. I was
Yeah,
looking for the four beats on
yeah,
all these songs, and
yeah,
low key, it wasn't at some of them. I was very
yeah.
surprised.
I picked "Get Lucky," which
Classic,
which I
an
think
absolute.
is the best dance song of the last decade. It is. I don't care how long it was played. I think that song is an absolute fucking classic.
No, yeah, that you can never get like I'll never get tired of the song
Yeah,
for me personally. There's no way I can get tired of it.
yeah,
It's has so many plays. It's so easy to listen
yeah.
to. It's amazing.
And then I really wanted to bring "Hot in Here" with Nelly because I'm like, wow, that is just such a different kind of sound.
hmm
But then I thought like I remembered he produced "Just" off "Run the Jewels 4." And
How could you not?
it's also like one of the only Run the Jewels songs produced by someone who's not LP.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I see. I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah. And it has the 4 count and it's just it is absolutely insane like how unique it is like when you realize like this is the only one on their like Run the Jewels albums. They've done a bunch of features with other producers. But it's like how obvious immediately like oh this is someone else and how seamlessly it flows.
Mhm.
And also debatably the best hook of all time.
Really? I'm gonna have to visit this.
Look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar.
Mm, I remember now. Yep,
It's
that's a
that
bar.
song. Yeah.
That is a straight bar. You
The
put me on that
yeah,
song.
the chorus is literally look at all these slave masters posing on your dollar.
Man, that's so hard.
Yeah.
When you think about that,
Yeah.
it's so hard.
It's nuts. And yeah, so like those are the ones I brought just because like I thought I guess the name of the game is just versatility. And also I wanted to bring up the fact that Pharrell is a performer too.
Yes.
I
Yes,
think I think he's a good performer. This might be controversial.
I don't think that's a stretch.
Yeah, but like I don't think he's amazing.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
he's somewhere in the average kind of
yeah,
category.
I
It's
don't
no
think
one
he's an
like no crazy
incredible
though.
rapper produce like a rapper performer. But I do think like he is good enough that I wanted to highlight at least one where like he took center stage in the vocals. And also
Okay.
he did produce Get Lucky, like obviously under the executive production of Daft Punk.
Hmm.
But he apparently heavily involved with making that.
I mean, I can't talk about him enough. Like Pharrell's influence is
Yeah.
remarkable and insane. If you ever have free time or if you're interested in the artist listener, I strongly recommend you can literally just search like Pharrell Williams producing
Yeah.
or production list. And
Yeah.
there's like Wikipedia pages on it. It's insane how much he's done. What I decided for my songs, I will say for all the songs that I did here, I did at least one personal favorite. I did tried to find one that I just didn't know, and then I tried to find like a classic. For Pharrell Williams, all right, Kendrick Lamar, wow.
Yeah, that is
The-
the best song he's made. That beat goes so
it's
crazy.
insane. It's insane. It's one of Kendrick's best songs. It's one of Pharrell's best productions.
Yeah.
Um,
And
that
also, it is just
collaboration is wonderful.
when people say that like To Pimp a Butterfly isn't fun, I go, "What? All Right is amazing." Like,
Right. Like, how could you not like this song?
how have you never done donuts in a parking lot while listening to All Right? It's incredible. Like,
I'm about to say, and it came with an amazing music video. Like, everything on the song, production, everything, top to bottom. Is
top to bottom,
fantastic.
perfect.
Um, so I had to throw All Right in there. Next one I threw in there is Mama, I Hit a Lick. Bro, this 2 Chainz songs, ooh,
Yeah.
this was like that time period where we were heavy on 2
Yeah,
Chainz.
I love this song.
Like that.
I almost had Feds watching. Like,
Really?
I love that.
That's a good one. That's another good one. That's one that I threw in there just because like I had a hard phase with that one and I knew you would relate to it.
yeah,
And
no,
then
that's a good one.
lastly, Excuse Me Miss by Jay-Z is an absolute classic. Just I feel like I haven't done Jay-Z his justice, but I need to go back and listen to all this stuff because like there's pockets of space like this, like the song Excuse Me Miss that I feel like are just staples to the culture. And I need to listen to the rest of it.
I totally agree.
Should we do one of yours? Who do you want to do?
Uh,
Should we do the competitor to Pharrell, the Kanye West?
yeah, we'll do Kanye West. All right. I mean, what's not to say about Kanye West? What 3 songs did you bring for Kanye?
Okay, so for Kanye, I did Izzo by Jay-Z.
Really,
I
that
think
beat makes that song.
literally, and like it's insane. The reason I wanted to include this song specifically, which is also why I asked if you watched the documentary.
Yeah.
This is one of like the first songs that like was like, okay, I made it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Where like he goes to New York, he's trying to pitch his ideas.
I did see
He's
this part
working
of
with
the
the
doc.
label. Exactly. Well, he's working with the label, and Jay-Z is like, hold on, this kind of nice. And like it just comes together. It's that first, like when Kanye was an actual producer,
Yeah.
it's his first hit where he's like, okay, this is it. Like I can do this.
Oh, that's interesting.
So I had to include that. I think that's just a staple to his career, at least as a producer specifically. His second song, Runaway, is debatably one of the best songs in existence.
It's yeah. Oh my god.
Like I will go that far.
Yeah.
I will
No,
go
it
that far to
is.
be like you can argue that it's one of the best songs.
My Yeah, here's the
Um,
thing. It's just they're just so. It is so fucking good. It is such a good song, but like, there's just if I want to listen to a Kanye song, I just never put on Runaway.
oh yeah, no, like it has. I feel like the talent that it brings out and just the message behind it, it comes with like a double-edged sword. Where like, okay, you can't just play this. Like, I don't just play Nights by Frank Ocean when I'm bored.
Yeah,
Like,
I
like
do.
there's always. I knew he was about to say something, but I'm just saying, like those staple songs, like you can't just play it as background song. Like these are staples. Like this is important.
Yeah,
And I just
yeah,
feel like "Runaway" is one of the greatest songs ever. That's all I can say.
yeah.
Last song I decided was "Mercy." I did "Mercy" because do you know how difficult it is to make a song that can actually like satisfy that many people? I think
It,
there's like 6 or 7 people rapping on Mercy.
it's so good,
And he's still able to tie the song together with all these different beats and
and
verses and
the
it
sample
works.
hook is crazy.
Insane. Who thinks of
Yeah,
this stuff? So that was my third one. I
it
had to do like a classic in all time and just
yeah,
like something to go down in history. Like it's so he's so talented.
yeah.
It's so talented.
I did something similar, but the first one I did is because like I think the thing is that Kanye, I didn't pick anything from before his solo work, so
But
that's not that I don't have like appreciation for that stuff. It's just that I was thinking about Kanye, and it's like, well, put out. I always felt like he saved his best work for himself, which why wouldn't you? So the first song I picked was "All Falls Down," and
amazing song.
amazing song. And I think the reason why I like it so much is like how stripped back it is. It's a very, very stripped back, very basic song. Like it's really just him and the guitar and the guy on the hook. And I think like as a producer, that was Kanye realizing how good his bars were on
Hmm.
that song and just letting himself not get in the way of himself, right?
And just
As
go crazy.
despite his public persona, I've always thought Kanye, until very recently, thought about his music very objectively
Hmm.
and didn't let producer Kanye and rapper Kanye butt heads, if you will.
Yeah.
So I thought that stripped back approach on All Falls Down was just like something I just wanted to highlight. Uh,
I agree with that
yeah,
100%.
and also like one of the things I want to do is I kind of want to compare and contrast like Kanye West and LP as rapper producers.
Hmm.
And like I'll just say it, like personally, I think Kanye West is a better producer than LP
Okay.
by a little bit. The
Interesting.
issue is I don't think Kanye raps like he does on All Falls Down anymore.
No, he doesn't. It's definitely
And
not anymore.
and I think LP like would is leagues ahead of Kanye lyrically, you know.
Okay.
But what I also think is interesting, you know, and we'll talk about maybe unpack this a little bit. I think like, if you compare LP to like J Cole, that's another interesting one because I do think LP
Mhm.
is a better producer than J Cole, like full stop.
Okay.
But but I don't think the gap is very large. But I would not bemoan someone for putting J Cole above LP. I think like he's a better rapper.
I think I just don't know enough about LP to even like compare them. I feel,
That's
and
why
I
we
feel like a lot of people are not
yeah
knowledgeable enough to compare them.
yeah I feel yeah well he is the underground king of hip hop. Like
Right.
he is the guy who has like affected so many people without ever becoming that famous.
Hmm.
All right, so the second Kanye West song I brought in was "Gorgeous,"
Man,
and honestly, I brought it in because I thought it was like the opposite of "All Falls Down" in a good way, because it's
so
just
explain.
so everything, right?
Do you
Like
think Kanye, like you said, he doesn't rap like he was doing All Falls Down? So you get to something like Gorgeous. He focuses more on his producer side.
I think "Gorgeous" is an exception because I still think he's on point as a rapper.
Okay.
But like when you get to Yeezus, yes, 100%. Like I think
It's all production almost.
I think Yeezus like even though like I don't think the lyrics on Yeezus are bad by any stretch. I do think he's almost using them as like a drum beat.
It's insane that you just said that because that is a point I was going to bring up as well. When you said Kanye's like he doesn't bump heads with his like producer self or his rapper self, Kanye does something that's very unique to his style that I feel like no one else has done. And I was watching a documentary about this a while ago. But what makes Kanye special is that he can make his voice an instrument. So, like you're saying, he's losing like the lyrics almost as a drum beat, or like he's able to add to production style, even though his rapper self is still doing lyrics. It's almost like another instrument to the song. I feel like.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's definitely it. I mean, even Runaway. Like, Runaway has that. Do you know that part that sounds like a guitar solo at the end of Runaway?
Yes, it's literally just his
That's just his
voice.
voice. Right?
Yes.
But,
No
like.
one else can do that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, the way he uses the human voice in his production is honestly probably the biggest stroke of genius out of anyone on this list, probably, if you ask me. But my point with this one, like bringing it like opposite of All Falls Down, is just like there's everything in this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a hook, there's an effect on Kanye's voice, the beat has layers. Mike Dean is playing the guitar, like an incredible guitar part in this. One of the like that I went back and listened to the song today, and I was just blown away. Like Jesus Christ, this is one of the best guitar riffs of the last of my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
So good, and it has everything. It has 3 full verses and then a feature,
Which is something you do not see anymore.
Yeah. Well,
you do not see 3
it has
verse
so
songs.
much. Like it's a 4-verse song. Like
it's a heavy one.
Yeah. And then my last one, because I wanted to highlight how like I do think Kanye does a good job of like molding his beats to who he's working with, or at least having an ear to bring that person the beats that he makes that would work with him.
Excellent point.
And
Excellent point.
I brought in What Would Meek Do off of Pusha T's Daytona.
Because there's no one else who could have took this beat. This beat was meant for Pusha T.
Yeah, no, it was perfect. It was perfect. And he's on it too, and it's pretty good. But like I do think this is like an example of like okay, this is Kanye's not really about lyrics anymore. He's fun. He's fun and he's good. Like I don't think that precludes him from being good. But yeah, it is. Those are the songs.
All right, bet.
Yeah.
We are 1/6 done.
Yeah.
Well, you already brought up him, so I'll just jump to J. Cole.
Yeah.
I'll jump right over to J. Cole.
Let's do J. Cole and then let's go back to LP because I want to compare these two. Because I think they're
Works for me.
I think they're a lot more similar than people think.
Might appear on the surface. Okay,
yeah.
But let me hear your songs for J. Cole.
So for J. Cole, because you picked my favorite song by J. Cole, first one I picked was Wet Dreams.
Oh my god!
Because
love it.
It is to me like when I think of J. Cole's style, I think of that. Like I think of a very laid back. He uses the soul sample, like the Chipmunk soul, like almost as much as Kanye, but it's always not at the forefront. Like Kanye, it's like very much like in the forefront. He wants to show you what he's doing, like with this thing, which I appreciate and I think is very cool. But J. Cole is always like effortlessly in the background.
It just kind of flows in.
Yeah. Yeah. The next song I picked, I honestly picked because of the emotional impact the song had on me.
Okay.
And that's Blow Up, one of his very early ones. Because
so
I just remember like hearing this song and being, and then it's like, okay, now I know who J. Cole is. And like, ever since
that was like your introduction.
That was my introduction. I didn't really like dive into him until I started listening to him casual. What was the album before Born Sinner?
The album before Born Sinner was Sideline Story, I want to say.
Sideline Story. I started listening to him kind of casually, like around the time Sideline Story came out. And then when Born Sinner came out, I was full-fledged on the J. Cole train.
Love it.
Yeah. We've talked about J. Cole a ton on this podcast, but he's one of the best.
And I will continue to talk.
And yeah. And like the thing is that from that song, Blow Up, like it just was clear. Like from the get-go, it's like this guy he's going places.
He's literally blowing up.
I remember because like the lyric in the song is actually like I'm about to blow up,
which is very specific and intentional.
And like me and my friends, like we were making, even though we were talking about why we like J. Cole, we were kind of making jokes. It's like I like him because he's honest. He's not bullshitting you and being like I'm about. It's like no, I'm about to blow up. Like I haven't done it yet, but like I will.
What a flex!
Yeah,
like honestly.
Yeah. So just like knowing like. Yeah, it was like 4 or 5 weeks after my high school graduation, I heard that song, and it's just like, J. Cole's been on my radar ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Then the last one, just like I think flexes his producer chops the most, is, besides the one you picked, is Workout. Because it flips that absolutely iconic Paula Abdul song.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, he interpolates it with his lyrics and...
Got a good day.
Yeah.
That's such a hard...
Yeah.
That whole song flows so well.
It's so... That song, like, very easily... Like, those lyrics and, like, that sample could have very easily been very corny. But it's...
Oh, yeah.
It's not at all. Like, it is so smooth and works so well. So, I think... That's like one of his best songs, like as a producer.
Okay, I do agree with that 100%. And like, I feel like, off of the point you just made, the impact that it has, or the ease. What's the word that I'm looking for? Give me a second. I can't think of the word, but I just feel like if it's really easy to listen to a song, that is fully dependent on like the producer. Like
more or less, yeah.
Exactly. Like I feel like the producer makes it easier to listen to and easier to grasp as a concept. If you can like actually obtain the music and like go with the flow, it's easier to listen to the lyrics and understand things as a whole, personally at least. So I feel like that fully relies on the producer. And if they can make it easy to listen to, that's amazing. So that's why Workout just works so well. But anyway, my songs for J. Cole, I picked one of the best songs I feel like he's produced for other people. I picked my favorite J. Cole song, and I picked what I think is the best J. Cole song, which I think is different. The first one I did was High Power by Kendrick Lamar. Personally, I put High Power in like probably one of the top 10, like personally favorite top 10 Kendrick Lamar songs.
Yeah.
I love High Power so much.
It's a very good song. I had no idea it was produced by J. Cole for many years. I learned about it years ago, but like I had no idea.
But still, that's something you like kind of think about. Like you have two heads of the genre right now, and like they're low key collaborating. People just don't even know.
Yeah.
And people have been begging for their collaboration for I don't know how long it's been done.
Yeah, a full length. I think that's the thing. Course. I think people want a full length because
God.
Yeah. Could you?
Jesus. We would be in danger. You and I would be in danger.
Yeah. You know, the thing is that like, how do I put this? It's just it never stopped sounding appetizing because these two have changed a lot. Like since High Power came out, both of their careers have changed a lot.
And I would still want to collab.
No, but there's still artists that would work great together.
100%.
Yeah, that's the point I'm making.
The next song I did was Nobody's Perfect. This is my favorite J. Cole song ever. Just the samples that he used, the way he brings it all together, the message behind the song that he delivers as the artist tied in with the producer piece. I just love Nobody's Perfect. I think it's such a heartwarming and soulful and encouraging song that like anyone can listen to when they're down. It's just, I love it. It's one of my favorite songs. And then lastly, which I think one is his favorite song, is his best song as a producer and an artist, but Neighbors.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good. And the fact that the sample, if you want to call it a sample, that he uses for Neighbors is literally just another song he's produced called Forbidden Fruit backwards.
Yeah.
That blows my mind away.
Yeah. Yeah, like
who does this?
So the thing that's mind blowing about that is, it wasn't it like a couple years or so, like before he revealed it in a show? Like,
yeah, and like
it was like 2-3 years like after it came out, like.
Bro, nobody knew in the middle
I
of
feel like
freaking,
Neighbors
tour.
had already gotten its like reputation as being like such a good song.
Oh yeah, and then just adds that on.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. You know, it's like it really, and like on top of that, like it's just like his best song. Like it has substance. It has one of the best hooks.
About to say the hooks is crazy. The lyrics are crazy. The storytelling is wild.
10 out of 10.
Jesus.
Every step of the way. I am upset. I cannot listen to that song right now. Because the neighbors think I'm so dumb.
I muted my mic and I started mouthing the words just to make sure like no sound came out. The neighbors think I'm so dumb.
And it's funny because like I got a question for you. The album that's on, right?
Okay.
You know,
it's not his best album.
It's his weakest. I think it's by far his weakest.
That is fair to say. I will not contest.
You know, I don't think it's bad. I don't think J. Cole has put out a bad album. But I think it is far and away. I think it is easily his weakest. Far
Especially in the time period that it came out. 2016, everything was dropping.
Yeah.
And he drops For Your Eyes Only.
Yeah. Like, look, once again, I think it's a good album. I just think it is. I think KOD is much better. 2014 Forest Hill Drive goes without saying.
Classic. Off season. Born Center is my favorite of his, period. So obviously I would take Born Center. I'm serious.
I like Born Center. Don't get me wrong. Like I think when J. Cole was far more commercial, I think he did commercial very well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think he always felt like someone who was able to make the songs that the radio would play, but like still put his heart and soul in. So like I don't think he was bad commercial at all. But you know, Born Sinner is probably the next one for me, but there's like a gap.
Okay, I can get that. There's no, like you said, there's no misses. I feel like obviously Forest Hill Drive.
Sideline Story, I just have very little emotional connection to. It's very good, but I just.
Is this because it was a long time ago?
Yeah, it was just because it was a long time ago. I didn't listen to it when it came out.
Fair.
Yeah,
completely fair.
There were obviously you know, a lot of his earlier songs and shit like that. Like the songs,
Workout was on there.
Yeah, the songs themselves stick with me, but not so much the album.
I can get that.
So, like,
if I'm just listening to an album, I would probably do Born Center.
That's fair. A question for you.
Okay.
How would you define like the J. Cole sound?
The J. Cole sound?
Yeah.
It's hard to put like a very clear description to it because like I feel like it would in itself it limits what he can do because he's very versatile.
Yeah, he is very versatile. Range. Yeah.
But if I had to put like a short phrase to who's J. Cole? J. Cole is the real version of not. See, even saying that, I feel like I'm gonna get pushed.
Were you about to say the real version of Drake?
No, I was not gonna say the real.
Oh my god, were you about to say that? Because like I would not. I was not. Like
I would not say the real version of Drake. I was gonna say like the real side to hip hop. He's like, and when I say real side, the reason I didn't even want to put that as my word is because I know that'll get pushed back because I don't want to call anyone fake. I don't want to invalidate anyone's style of hip hop. But I feel like he has those core traditions of like actual uplifting messages.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's things that he wants to teach. I feel like you don't really get that in rap a lot.
This is a great pivot to the next artist because
let's do it.
I feel like the next artist, I feel like J. Cole feels like an evolution of traditional hip hop sounds, right?
Yes.
He does not feel like incredible experimentation. I think it just feels like if people were still trying to get to the same sound as like the '90s, like the golden age of hip hop, as that sound evolves, it evolves into something that sounds like J. Cole. I would say that is how I would define it.
So
And
going into next artist, then.
yeah, and I would say the same thing about LP. I would say like he is certainly like just an artist who has taken like that core hip hop sound and just pushed it into a new direction.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta ask, like, did you actually listen to these songs? Like,
Okay, I'll be completely honest with you. LP was the most difficult person on this list.
I don't doubt it.
Um,
I really want you to start
I
listening to him because he's so good.
I mean, I'm not against it in any
Yeah,
sense, but what I will say, what I found out through very limited research and knowledge, so bear with me.
yeah,
A lot of the songs they produce is for himself. I didn't see him actually produce a lot of music for other people.
that's totally true.
Um, so that in itself made it very difficult because I don't know his career wise. I did find three songs that I genuinely liked the beat to. I thought it was produced very well. I liked the structure of the song. I didn't really listen to the lyrics in itself, but I was more focused on like, do I actually like the production behind it since we're focusing on the production. So I did listen to these three songs. If I replayed them right now, I probably won't know them that well. Like I'll be
Yeah,
honest with you, because I only got like one listen out of it. But what I did hear and what you've described so far of like a very busy city, I can see that.
yeah,
There was a lot going on, and it was a bit overwhelming. But like, I still was like keeping up with it.
yeah. No, that's I admire you for doing that, and like to put some breadcrumbs to where we'll go next. Like I had to do a very similar thing with Pierre Bourne. Like
Okay,
so like I get it. Like we both have one on each side.
we actually balanced this out very
Yeah.
well. So I mean, what I did see, and I'll just go through my songs. Then I won't be able to give much of a story behind them.
No, that's fine.
But big
That's kind of why I'm interested because I want
right.
to know like what about these songs. To be honest, I thought like you picked Call Tinkerton because I'm like that was probably in FIFA. Like I was like,
So I would say so I did Call Tinkerton was my second song. Big Beast, and then I did The Fire in Which You Burn. I did listen to all these songs. It was like I don't know, all of it was catchy, but it was hard to like kind of grasp everything because I think it was like when I introduce myself to a new artist, like I kind of sit down and like kind of get ready for a whole project and I get everything kind of all at once. I feel like I didn't get the benefit of doing that. I got to hear like a good song in its sense, but I didn't get like a deeper meaning behind it.
that's fine. Yeah, I think that's totally fair.
Did I do well? Did I
No,
even pick good songs?
the fire in which you burn is a deep cut. That is
Okay.
that is not like that is not a song I listen to frequently. So I was genuinely impressed. Uh, Call Tinkerton, I'll be honest, like I like it. Like it's one of my least favorite Run the Jewels songs, but like it's like we were just talking about with J. Cole, right? Like his weakest album is still good. Like it's
Right.
just it's on the sliding scale. That's how I feel about that song.
Okay.
Big Beast, however, I fucking love. Because like the thing
That's
about
the banger.
yeah, because it's fucking huge. It's the opening track to Rap Music, which is Killer Mike's solo album from. It's when he met LP before Run the Jewels. LP produced that entire album. Um, and yeah, I just thought like at this, it sounds very like him, like a big lot of sounds, a lot of like right in your face, but it's has that southern flair, which he's a New York guy, so like there's no reason he should be able to do that. Like,
Mhm.
so I thought that was interesting. And to be honest, I thought like that would be one you would probably like because I understand why you're not as huge into LP as I am, but for some reason I'm like, there's no way Purvis doesn't love Killer Mike. I feel like you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, no, and you're completely right. Like
yeah,
I've listened to all of Run the Jewels. Like
yeah,
I've listened to all their
yeah,
music. Do not get it twisted.
yeah,
I enjoy their music,
yeah.
but like in reality, you're clearly the bigger fan.
Oh, 100%. Well, they're like Killer Mike's my favorite rapper of all time. LP is probably in the top 15.
Okay.
You know, and I think LP is the best rapper producer of all time. Like, I don't think anyone is as good at both as he is.
Interesting.
That's my big thing. I think Mac Miller could have
Came
overshadowed
close.
him. Yeah, he definitely could have. I think one of the reasons why I really resonate with LP is because he's from before my time, right? His solo work, and I'll start by highlighting my first song, Deep Space 9mm. If you wanted to get into him, I would say listen to that one song, and if you like it, listen to more. If you don't, you gave it your best shot. Like, it is
Right.
this is like made for you. Like, this feels very much like in the tradition of like Day and Night, or
Like
Objects
it's
in the
meant to be
Mirror.
commercialized or something.
No, just that it's very moody. It's very emotional. It's very
Okay.
LP very much what Kanye did, like in the mainstream, in revitalizing, or not revitalizing, but kind of like changing the sound of music, and what could be mainstream. LP did that on the underground, and I
Okay.
think I 100% believe that he like handed his baton to Mac Miller. It is, and if you listen to Mac Miller interviews, he'll say it like he was a huge fan. I think like you see a lot of like the seeds for a later career Mac Miller in early career LP.
Okay.
Yeah, and I also think you see a lot of like setup for like the Lupes of the world, the Kid Cuddies of the world, the people who loved hip hop, loved the golden age of hip hop, but wanted to move it forward. So
Especially with the
that's
more emotional piece to it.
it's kind of like if you were like, oh, I'm trying to name all the Travis Scott clones, and if you were like, oh, I love all these Travis Scott clones, right?
Okay.
But you never listen to Travis Scott. I
Like you're
would
missing
probably
that core
I would
piece.
want you to listen to Travis Scott because that's where that shit comes from. That's how I feel
Exactly.
because I know you love a lot of the shit that like LP seeded.
Okay.
So that's like why I think like it's so interesting.
Yeah, that's a good way to sell it.
Yeah. So I would say listen to Deep Space 9mm. I I think that will, just because like it's very much a nighttime drive on LSD type song.
All right, saving it.
Yeah. It is. Yeah, it's on.
You
Yeah,
said enough.
it is. It is kind of like an early like '90s hip hop meets late night LSD type song. Like, that's the best pitch for it. Like,
You telling me you're giving me a reason to go on LSD?
yeah,
I will gladly go
yeah.
downtown right now.
The next one that I picked for LP was Reagan, which is another song off that Killer Mike album.
I've
And
actually heard that song because
yeah, because I'm a crazy person. I listen to it all the time.
pretty sure you fucking recommended it in one of the movies.
I did, yeah.
Here we go.
It's so good. This song doesn't have a verse, and I can't stop listening to it. What does that mean? Like,
That means you're insane.
it doesn't have a chorus. That's what I meant. It doesn't have a chorus.
I know what you meant. It
Yeah,
means you're insane.
yeah. I don't know. I just think like it's that slow build up. Right? It starts very simply. It's like a clock ticking and like a single piano chord, and by the end of it, it starts to sound like the government like bum rushing into your home. Like,
Oh,
and I love that build. And Close Your Eyes and Count to Fuck is goes harder than any song ever made.
interesting.
Like this, yeah. It's the hardest song I've ever heard. And also, I love the fact that like they have a feature on it, and that like the hook is like sampled, like they chop it up,
Okay,
and I just think
that's pretty cool.
it adds so much energy.
I have to revisit.
Yeah. Oh, all
I'm
right.
gonna do a hard one in Drew's face.
Yeah. Let's do a Pierre
So I
Bourne.
think, yeah, I think it's only fair since you made me do something that I'm not used to. You tell me about Pierre. What did you find?
Well, I remember getting really into Travis Scott when you showed me him, and being like, "Oh, here's where the last 2 years of hip hop came from." And I feel very similarly. I'm like, "Oh, this is where Playboy Cardi and everything, like where that sound came from."
I'm glad you had that realization.
Now at the same time, like Now I've listened to. I'm not a huge Playboi Carti fan.
I know.
I tend to like him when he shows up, and I like that song Magnolia. So I'm not
That is
discounting
the
him.
famous one.
Yeah, so I'm not discounting him by any stretch. But to me, like it just sounded like the Uzi Cardi canon, like that really, really, like the music that is meant to just like drive hype through the roof.
Yep.
And
Like
look, I
literally,
like do nothing else. Like it kind of reminds me of EDM in that
it's
sense.
not far from it.
Yeah,
Like honestly, when you say it like that, it's not
yeah,
far from it because it's interesting. We just had Isaiah on. He was talking about Lyrical Lemonade's concert,
yeah,
and like the biggest performances, the headliners was Uzi on Saturday and Playboi Carti on Sunday. Like it literally has created its own subgenre. That's where hip hop is now, and it's because of influence like Pierre.
yeah, yeah. No,
And
Pierre
so that
basically created this entire thing. And look,
exactly.
it is. And the other thing is that like it does sound very specific. You know, I'm gonna say what Pierre doesn't sound like, but I don't want to imply that only this irredeemably bad artist is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But like Pierre Bourne sounds very distinctly different. It sounds very SoundCloud, but it sounds distinctly
Hmm.
different from the Little Xans and the 6ix9ines of the world.
Yes.
You know what I
It
mean?
is.
It,
It's a good way to put it.
and like I don't mean, even though I absolutely do disparage those artists and their producers, I don't necessarily mean to disparage that type of sound. I'm not saying it like a quality thing. It just sounds a lot more focused. I don't want to use the word refined because it's very raw, if not rawer, but
Right.
it's certainly focused for sure.
So, and I sent you the TikTok early on purpose because I was like, I need to kind of prepare you for the conversation.
Yeah,
So, with this sound that's been kind of taken over hip hop low key, like you just said, it kind of sounds like a refined SoundCloud. But you have people who are leading the industry like Playboy Cardi and Uzi, and like people that are fans are fairly relative to know who the producers are. But like I feel like there's still a good amount of people who do not realize a lot of these artists and the sounds is literally because of Pierre. And I feel like that alone, even though he may not drive as much numbers as like a Pharrell Williams or a Kanye West, I think he should go down as one of the better ones, one of the goats. If there was like a Hall of Fame producer, I would 100% nominate Pierre because he in himself has influenced and driven a whole sound where like
he really has.
it, it
My
it's a melody, like the repeating aspect and factor into the songs and how it makes the songs. It's insanity.
my only my only thing, and I almost because I agree. I like Pierre Bourne like as a producer. I was really impressed by the production on the songs I listened to, which were just assorted Uzi and Cardi songs, because that's the majority
Hmm.
of like what he does, to be honest.
Right.
So I didn't even put specific songs. I just put the Uzi Cardi canon.
And that's
Uh,
all.
but you know, think the only issue that Pierre Bourne has to worry about, um, and like, is that he has made his mark on this genre, this sub genre, that's niche, ultra niche part of the culture. That like,
Hmm.
if something outside of his control tanks that movement, it's gonna ruin his legacy. You know what I mean? Like, let's say like
Yeah.
a new suite of producers come in, make songs for these artists, and it fucking implodes. Like, there's nothing Pierre Bourne can do about that. And
That is true.
you could say that about pretty much anyone that is so focused. But I just feel like more so than I think it's fair to say that maybe more so than anyone else on this list, I think Beerborn is the most like I don't want to use the word isolated, but focused. Like he is in his lane, doing what
Yeah.
he does really well.
I completely
And
understand what you mean.
and I agree.
If
I
you
think he
were,
has a great tag.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he has. Okay, yeah, that's the other thing. He has the best tag on his list. I don't care. He
yeah.
has the best tag on his list.
Are we?
Um,
Do we count? Do we count the four count?
that
If we're counting the four
that is a
count,
good
no,
one.
he doesn't.
That is a good one.
Like,
That is a good one.
I'm just
That is a good one.
just keeping it real. Like,
Or a traditional. I'll say that a traditional producer tag that you hear in the song. I think he has one of the best ones out there. Period. Um, Besides that, I just it's impressive what he's done with his talent. Because if you were to put it, I know you're trying to find the right word where it does come off negative, but if you were to put it in a negative sense, it is limited to that one subgenre because his music and his production is so good in that one area. It basically is a song. So like Uzi, I wouldn't say as much because Uzi actually delivers real lyrics, but definitely more on the Playboy Cardi side. Like Playboy Cardi is just hard repeating lyrics. Like it doesn't take much to concept or much to understand the lyrics behind the song.
I agree.
What really makes the song is the production. It's the beat. It's the repetitiveness. It's the impact. It's what music is meant to do. Music is to make you have a reaction emotionally. If you can get that rage out, that's what it does. Um, but anyway, I'll just do my song. My first song is the song that you mentioned, Magnolia. I think this is one of his better songs. This is a song that put Playboy Cardi on the map, honestly. Absolute classic. A second song. Have you heard this song, EA, Brandon?
No, I have not. I did hear Pissy Pamper because I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like,
Yes, my third song was Prissy Pamper, one of the best Playboy Cardi songs that never actually, or actually Young Nudie songs featuring Playboy Cardi that never was released because he couldn't get the sample to pass, I don't
yeah,
think, or something along those lines. Is absolute classic. Did you like Pissy
it
Pamper?
was funny.
Thank you. I'll take that. I'm serious, and I rarely do this. I need you to go listen to EA right now.
Like right now.
Like right now. I need to get your opinion.
Okay, let me.
Because I think EA the song is one of the best produced songs, at least that I've heard in the past couple of years for like this kind of younger generation. Bro, this man made a snare beat out of a gunshot.
That beat
That
goes really hard.
I'm telling you, whenever I hear this song, like I am banging my head, like I want to fight somebody.
Yeah. No, that's
It just it's the production is
that
ridiculous.
that's good production. I'm not gonna lie.
So now you see why I was like, okay,
Okay.
pause recording. I need you to listen to it.
Yeah. No,
This is why,
I
like,
needed to
I
know
think
that.
he needs to go down. Yeah,
Okay.
he needs to go down as one of the greatest.
I mean, I do feel like he is definitely the least prolific out of everyone on this.
Mhm.
So I want to see him grow a little bit more. But I gotta say, like I'm on board. Like there was no negative reaction to Beerborn. Also, he did Yikes. I had no idea.
Yep.
All right.
Very.
Now, if we want to talk about someone who just defined a sound, I think we should jump down to Elangelo.
All right. Let's get into it.
Yeah. So, I know we didn't go over like people who almost made it, but for me, a producer who I like a lot more than I like his work as a producer a lot more than the artist on top of him is OVO 40.
Okay.
But like, it's kind of hard to deny that OVO 40 took a whole lot of his production style from Michelangelo.
Yes, I can definitely see that.
You know, because like, think of how different just sonically his stuff before Take Care sound.
You mean like Angelo?
No, before OVO 40, like the early
Oh
Drake
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like
Okay.
the early Drake stuff, pre Take Care.
Talking about like the So Far Gone
Yeah,
days.
right.
I
And like,
got
look,
you.
I'm not saying that those are bad by any stretch, not at all. But I definitely
But
think like that flair that I grew to love on OVO 40, I think came from Elangelo. I think he defined a sound when with his work with the Weeknd.
I mean, honestly, and this was one of the examples I was talking about at the beginning. As I like started doing research on the producer, I realized it's literally like, okay, what are my favorite like weekend songs?
Yeah,
Like immediately, just like, okay, this is an EXO producer almost. Like I went as far as to
yeah,
think about it that way. He is very influential. Like Jesus Christ, I did not realize how many songs
yeah,
he's touched. Um, but I wanted to do some of my favorite weekend songs, and I wanted to do at least one song that wasn't the weekend.
he has a
My
few.
first one
Yeah,
is yeah, he does have a few. He does have a
yeah,
few, but like it is a lot towards the weekend. So I was like, let me do something that's not the weekend. So the first one is Faith.
yeah.
I don't know if we've talked about this on the podcast yet, but
One of the
you've
best
already
songs.
said how much you listen to that, how much you listen to the album. But
Uh,
the song by itself, the outro, mm,
that is
amazing.
it. It is not impossible that in 5 years, After Hours will be my favorite album of all time. No other.
Really?
Yeah, I like it that much. It's so good.
Okay.
Also, just
I'll give it to you. I'm not mad.
do you know who the so Faith was a collaboration between Elangelo and another producer. You know who it was?
Who was the other
It
one?
was Metro Boomin.
Wow.
Yeah,
I love it. I
yeah,
love it.
yeah. He did Heartless and he did Faith with Elangelo. And that's another thing is that and I think we'll get to this more a little bit more with Rick Rubin specifically. But producer means a whole lot of different things. I think the way
Yes.
we've been saying it pretty consistently is meaning like the person actually making the beat and like laying down the vocals and like making it all come together. But a lot of times producers just mean like the people who get everyone in a room,
Mhm.
right?
Very
And
true. Who
one
gets all the ideas together, all the pieces together.
yeah. Sometimes producers are musicians who like play an instrument and make a beat. But sometimes they're conductors and they play an orchestra and they just put everyone in the right spot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
You know what? I was not shocked to find out that I Fall Apart was
Yeah, I was
uh
about to say that was one of my songs. I Fall Apart. Do you like the song,
no.
bruh?
I think I think the production is pretty good.
But you don't like the Post Malone part.
No. No, I don't. I think its singing is really bad.
I think I Fall Apart is a perfectly great song. And then
Disagree.
my last one, the last one is The Zone. This is one of the ones that stuck out because I told you I went through years without listening to the trilogy. I don't know, I just didn't do it.
You're an
Um,
awful human being. Should be in a
I was a,
cage.
I was a fool, and I've learned my lesson. Um, but this is one of the songs that definitely stood out
The
to me. The
Zone.
Zone
The Zone's
is
incredible.
so good, so good. But
Yeah.
those are my three.
Yeah. And yeah, I guess I can be this guy more than anyone else on the list. I think was really really tied to one artist, and
Hmm.
to me, I had to put House of Balloons. That mixtape, first off, is a defining moment for me,
Hmm.
and that song specifically, I always felt like didn't get the love it deserved.
Okay.
The next one I had to do was Crew Love off Take Care.
It's so good. I honestly didn't even notice if you put it. I had Crew Love after you typed it in, and I was like, wait, I have to change it.
Yeah,
Crew Love is amazing.
amazing song, and like really like an important song. Like really
Yeah.
like really like a linchpin in the culture. Like when you think about it.
You are not wrong at all.
Yeah,
And like even in the album itself, like obviously the album is a classic and it's Drake's best album.
yeah,
But like where it fits within the album, it's perfect. It's
perfect.
everything about it is it's very finely
Yeah,
polished.
no, it's absolutely. And then I go with the title track from After Hours. Uh, one my favorite song off that album, my favorite song in the last few years. I think it is very much to me. I think this song is more or less The Weeknd's Pyramids.
Interesting.
I think it is, this grand emotional epic.
I,
It's
I
not
feel
as
like we've talked about
yeah,
this.
it's not as like over the top as Pyramids, and I say that lovingly. Uh, but yeah, like no, it's multi-phase. It's him going through all these different sounds. Like at first, it sounds very, very trilogy, and then it gets into like a little bit more of like a poppier, like a grimy dance song. almost like
Mhm.
a teaser to Dawn FM, kind of. Uh,
Yeah.
and then it ends with something that feels a lot more like polished and like starlit ballad, which fits After Hours, the album, very well. So,
Hmm.
perfect song, 10 out of 10, zero question.
It is what it is. I
Yeah.
got you.
All right.
Okay.
Next
Should we
guy,
jump over?
let's jump right over to the guy we mentioned earlier. Metro Boomin wants some more.
Yes, sir. Now this is like I feel like he's in the same category, the same John or the same generation when they came out as Pierreborn. I feel
Yeah.
like both of them kind of came up at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think Metro is a little bit more successful
He's everywhere.
in
He's on
comparison.
everything. Yeah.
Right.
He's
He has touched a lot of big
and
names.
he's great. He is
Phenomenal.
consistently phenomenal. He is our generation's Pharrell Williams. I
Honestly,
100% believe that.
I can see it. And on top of that, another really dope thing about Metro Boomin. I don't see a lot of other artists or a lot of other producers doing this, but he's made some of the most collaborations.
Yeah.
Like actual full projects. He's
Yeah.
got one with 21 Savage, with Nav, with I believe Migos and some other stuff. One with Big Sean, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Like it's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think Metro Boomin in terms of like creative strategy, like just like putting stuff out there, I don't think there's anyone touching Metro Boomin right now. Because I love that he does like full projects, like full Metro Boomin projects, and also features on like almost every album. It feels like.
Mm-hmm.
And circling back to an earlier person we talked about, like LP, I think one of his great weaknesses is that he doesn't do that. Like he doesn't feature on other people's songs. He doesn't produce for other people. There's no way to get a sense of who he is as an artist unless you're listening to the full experience. Whereas like Metro Boomin, while I don't think he's as good as a producer as LP, or he makes as artistic of works, I think he's proven that you can do both. Like I think the idea that you have to pick and choose, like, only goes so far.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Well, tell me about some of your songs.
Oh, so the songs I picked. Okay, so I just I wanted to just go with the songs that I actually listen to the most with this guy.
Okay.
So I had to pick Jumpman off that Drake Future album. What a Time to Be Alive.
Wow, how did that not come to my head?
Yeah. So I had to pick that.
It's a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic.
That's
one
that's
of
a
the
club
most,
song, like staple.
one of the most fun songs. I love just like picking up a basketball and being like, Jumpman, Jumpman, Jumpman.
I agree. Fully agree with that.
Yeah, absolute banger. But is it the greatest song ever written? Probably not. Do you know what it is? Bad and Bougie.
I hate you. Bad and Bougie is a good pick.
Yeah.
Bad and Bougie is a great
Bad and
pick.
Bougie is, I think it's the best Migos song. It is 100% like one of the most iconic songs of my life. This thing dominated when it came out.
No, yeah, it's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, it was everywhere.
And the other thing is that I feel like it fully penetrated the culture. Ew, gross. Like, it was...
Talking about some ew, gross. Heck no.
But, like, everyone was listening to it. Like, the hardcore hip-hop fans were listening to it. It was on the radio. It was in nightclubs. It was everywhere. Like,
it was everywhere.
Yeah.
All the songs on that album was everywhere.
Yeah.
Culture, T-shirt, Bad and Bougie, Slippery, all of it was everywhere.
Yeah.
Kelly Price.
Yeah, definitely. And then I picked Ric Flair Drip because it's the greatest song ever written.
You're so annoying.
I love that song. I'm not joking. I love that song. Like,
why do you love Ric Flair Drip of all songs?
Because I love Ric Flair, and one, I think the song is actually like a relatively high quality, like, Offset track. I think he's by far the best Migo. And I think I just like, because I know who Ric Flair is, and like I remember like listening to it with the video a lot, and it's just so good. It's just so good. Like,
it has 1 billion plays.
I don't.
It has 1 billion plays.
It's Give it a billion more. I don't care.
Run it back. Okay. Those are all great choices. I will give you that. My first one is 3500 by Travis Scott.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I went into this when we talk about Astroworld, but like 3500 is so good. It is so good.
It is good.
It's one of Travis's best songs. The production on the song is unmatched. It's amazing. So that was my first song. Gotta include that. Second song is X by 21 Savage and Future. They were in a bag when they made this song.
Yeah.
It is absolutely phenomenal. One of the few songs that actually like has a consistent plot to it, which unfortunately is a toxic one, but still, it's actually
It's never good. Like, look, I want more. I want more songs with plots, but all the plots are always awful.
Exactly. And then the last one, Congratulations. Congratulations is an absolute staple song.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I hate that song, but it's okay. Like,
bro,
dude, I graduated.
You cannot like. Okay,
I graduated. I had to hear that song so much, so
that doesn't
much.
make it a bad song.
And also, I mean, I don't hate the beat, but like, I think it's not a fun. What's his face? What's the guy's name? The other guy from
Post Malone?
Migos. Quavo.
Oh,
I don't think
Quavo.
it's a great Quavo feature. Post Malone, once again, I don't think that album is any good. Uh, I see why people like it. That hook is catchy, but like I just every time I listen to it,
Like it was a staple. Like everyone played Graduations, didn't matter. Like I don't know.
I don't care.
And it's just a good
It made
song.
me sad.
It has 1.6 billion plays, bro.
I don't care.
You're disagreeing with this many people. It's more than Ric Flair drip.
Good. Good.
But anyway, those are my three.
I live to annoy. Like,
all right, bro.
I wish I could disagree with more people.
Of course you do.
It's who I am. I'm a deeply broken person. Like,
I guess. Should we go into?
Yeah, let's go into the next one. Okay, what do you want to do? Do we want to do Dr. Genius or do we want to do Rick Rubin?
It's up to you. I feel like Rick Rubin's a like big one. We should end on a good one. So let's do Dr. Genius.
Yeah, let's do Dr. Genius. Okay. So he made a lot of Kid Cudi songs.
He is Kid Cudi.
Yeah, no, he's Kid Cudi. Yeah, But here's the thing, man. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Kid Cudi is great on his own. I think he actually has matured into a pretty good producer. I think he has a great taste for like a great sense of taste of like what will actually like work for him. Right? I've got nothing but love for Kid Cudi. But let's keep it real. Like, he relies a lot on the Sonics behind him. So,
absolutely.
Honestly, like, I would say even more than The Weeknd and Elangelo, I think Kid Cudi really relies on Dr. Genius. And I think he just defined that entire sound. And, you know, I challenge you to find an artist more beloved in our generation than Kid Cudi.
It would have been Mac Miller. They were the only person I could have challenged.
Yeah, fair.
Unfortunately. But that's it. That's pretty much it. Maybe Pharrell Williams. No one hates him.
No one hates him, but I don't know if there's the passion. Yeah.
Those two aren't our generation, actually.
Yeah.
So I see what you mean. But I completely agree, 100%. Like, no one hates Kid Cudi, except for Kanye, apparently. Which is stupid.
Fuck Kanye.
But anyway.
I don't think I give a shit.
No, you don't. I know. But I'll go through my songs real quick.
Yeah, tell me what you
Trapped
think.
in My Mind, one of his best songs ever, I feel like. I feel like it's low-key a sleeper. I don't know a lot of people talk about Trapped in My Mind.
It's a good one.
The second song I did was LSD. I wanted to find a song that he did do for Kid Cudi. And then I realized he produced 2 or 3 songs on Janae's album
Yeah.
called Trip, I think.
Yeah.
And LSD is the opening track, and like it's short, but it's nice. It's smooth, and like the whole album is supposed to like be about trippy and like taking drugs and that kind of like effect. And it's a great way to bring in and set that atmosphere. That I
I
think
gotta listen to this
setting an
song now.
atmosphere is huge.
You really sold me on listening to that song.
I'm just saying it's good. And then of course, like this is like this was bringing back that traditional Kid Cudi for me. But my last song is Reborn. I feel like we hadn't had that strong back in the day Man on the Moon Kid Cudi, and then we get Reborn, and that song can bring you to tears. That's an encouraging, loving, great song. My niece knows this song, bro. I was driving one day and I turned around and she was singing to it, and I lost it. It's such a good song.
Yeah.
But those are my
Reborn is a really great song. I mean, I think the thing that I do find most interesting with Dr. Genius is how he has been with Kid Cudi through all of his side projects. Because he was on Wizard, like he was a producer behind Wizard, and Kids See Ghost. So I had to pick my favorite Kids See Ghost song, Cudi Montage. The layers to that song, right?
Ooh.
Like, it's like so hard to describe. It's like it's just there's so much there, but it's not that wall of sound that LP does, or like any other noisy artist does. It's just so perfectly layered. It doesn't sound like too much, but it does sound like a lot. Like
right at the same time.
Yeah. Another song he did one of my favorite songs and one of my favorite albums of the year so far, and that's The Ills on Denzel Curry.
Yep. Yeah. I knew he was going to bring this one.
Yeah. Yeah. No, how could I not?
No, it's a great song.
And then, of course, Dr. Genius made my favorite song of all time.
And it's up there. It is absolutely up there.
Day and Night is my favorite song of all time. And, yeah, I mean, how could I not? How could I not? And also, it is amazing. It's one of the greatest songs of our lifetime. I don't know how anyone could argue with me.
I definitely do not argue against you. Day and Night is a absolute classic song. Day and Night is up there with Runaway. The way I talk about Runaway is how I think about Day and Night.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but that was actually simple because it was mostly Kid Cudi. We're gonna talk a lot about Kid Cudi, so anyways, that works.
All right.
Let's do The Alchemist.
Yeah, let's talk about The Alchemist.
My big one for last.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I got two more, but that's good because
no, I'm saying Dr. Dre and Rick Rubin.
Well, I also got RZA, so we could do Rick Rubin, Dr. Dre, and RZA.
Yeah. Jesus. Anyway.
Yeah.
One thing at a time. I did The Alchemist. So I'm gonna be honest. When I did The Alchemist, I was very close-minded. I thought I needed to include him because I had just gotten into this new.
The Griselda.
I just found but I didn't know that this goes back to like decades.
Yeah,
Alchemist has been around
late '90s.
I don't know how long.
Yeah,
like since I was born, basically. And he has touched so many different things. I noticed. I think he put some of his older things. I couldn't tell, so I tried to find some of his newer stuff and try to get a good balance there. But like, damn, does he do a good job at creating that like, not gross, but like that grimy like.
Yeah, no, it's. I don't want to chalk it up to just this, but it's the Griselda sound. Like it's.
Yeah.
And obviously he collaborates with a lot of different artists, and I know him for collaborating with Freddie Gibbs.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to do God is Perfect so bad, Brandon.
Yeah.
But I didn't have enough space.
Dude, I get that.
With Freddie Gibbs, that song is so good.
It was very hard for this not to be all Freddie Gibbs songs for me. Because that is my main touch point for this guy.
Okay.
Is Alfredo. Like, I'm obviously aware of The Alchemist. Like, Red Dot Music is one of my favorite Mac Miller songs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm obviously, like, aware. But, like, that was my main, like, crystallization point was listening to Alfredo. And just the perfect way, like, he worked with Freddie Gibbs. And then
Hmm.
obviously, like, I don't know if I'm as into the Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun. Uh, who's the other one? Benny the
There's a
Butcher,
few.
West Side
There's Benny the
Gun,
Butcher, just like
Conway the
Benny the
Machine,
Butcher, just like
Conway the Machine.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I've listened to Kanye's album that dropped this year. Incredible, very chilling, and I love
Hmm.
like that cold vibe that The Alchemist has. Uh,
Man, I've been getting into it.
yeah, and I think that's why like my favorite song by with him is Frank Lucas, which is Freddie Gibbs and Benny the Butcher.
Hmm.
And it just, dude, it sounds like a gangster movie. It's so good. Yeah.
He's nailed the sound.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And then the other one I went with was something he co-created with another one that was almost on my list, and that's Kenny Beats. And that's
Okay.
Cosmic.
Ooh, yeah, Kenny Beats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmic. It's a song with Denzel, actually.
It's a dangerous combination.
Yeah, so the three of them. And believe it or not, it's a fun song. And then I looked and I'm like, I didn't realize The Alchemist, because talk about an artist that is, while very good and well respected as the Griselda guys and Freddie Gibbs, I didn't know he had such a relationship with Action Bronson.
Yeah.
So I picked,
Ton of music with him.
which is, look, I love Action Bronson, but I just don't put him in the same group as those other
Oh
guys.
yeah, yeah.
But
Of course not.
Terry,
Yeah.
that song fucking slaps.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then obviously like Fear and Red Dot Music that you picked, love those.
Yeah. I was about to say that I was trying to pick some of the like newer
Spoilers.
ones that I can think of. Fear. I talked about this when we went through the damn podcast episode. Fear is one of the essentially and structurally one of Kendrick's best songs ever. Just like the fact that each verse breaks down different time periods that a black man goes through life and things that he's afraid of and that he's aware of when he's 17, and 27. Me being 25 right now, reaching that last point, man, this song's insane.
It's an incredible
Um,
song.
it is
It's very
insane.
much the the high watermark on Damn. It's just not
Yeah,
as fun as the rest of the album, so that's why like
it's not.
yeah, which we talked about.
And it's a very commercial
There's an
album.
entire episode about Damn. Uh,
Literally. Go back and you can listen to it. The next song that you already mentioned already is Red Dot Music. I didn't know that he actually produced anything with Mac Miller until I did some more research. But like you said, this is one of the better songs on the album. Uh, I won't say the album's a sleeper, but I don't think it's his most commercialized or most famous one. But it's definitely one that's worth taking note as you see him shift from the frat boy phase to like the newer phase, which we've already talked about. Lastly, I was stuck between two or three Schoolboy Q songs, but I had to throw a Schoolboy Q song in here. Break the Bank. Oh my
so
god.
good.
I haven't listened to Oxymoron in a minute. But when I listened to Break the Bank today, I was ready to blow up a building. Like,
It's
I
so good.
was I was hyped. It's so good.
Yeah. No, I definitely uh, his school. I would want more from the Alchemist and Schoolboy Q. I think if there's any artist that he can make more music with, I think it's Schoolboy Q. That's the one I would want.
100%. And one of my recommendations the other week was when you gonna drop that new shit. So like I've already been paying attention to this collab,
Yeah,
and I think it's worth going somewhere.
that's sick. All right,
All right.
let's let's start talking about some classics. Let's start talking about some of the guys who absolutely tower over the
I have to
position
say,
of producer, and we're gonna start with Rick Rubin.
100%.
So,
Yes.
what's your take on Rick Rubin?
So from what I've learned previously to like, because we did a lot of our research today, um, I know his influence on many genres. I know he's also kind of like a counselor for a lot of artists, um, in a sense that like he is able to build a larger picture. He's more than just like, oh, he's a producer that can put beats down or put a song together, but he can take a further step back and understand and grasp a full concept behind a full project and put all of that together. And I think that's what stands out different from him and some of the other producers. And so I know he's just one of the absolute classics.
It's that he's a titan. That's the best way to describe it. I mean, him and Russell Simmons started Def Jam.
And that
Well,
that alone is insane.
like where would we be without Def Jam? Uh,
Very sad.
so I'm interested in hearing you talk about the songs you picked.
So I
Uh,
did Mind of a Lunatic. That's the first one. I didn't realize how far back Rick Rubin has been influential inside of just the genre in general.
yeah.
But the group of Ghetto Boys from literally the 1990s
Yeah.
um, is a staple to the community. I feel like they are
Oh,
very influential.
100% they are.
Yeah, it's insane the impact that they have. And one of their best songs is "Mind of a Lunatic" that Rick Rubin actually produced.
Yeah.
This goes all the way back to the 1990s. I highly recommend going back and giving it a listen.
Yeah, 100%. It's absolutely a classic
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. So with that being said, my mindset when I was picking my songs, I wanted to do one like really old before I was even born. We're talking about 80s, 90s. So I just brought up Ghetto Boys. I wanted to do one when I was much younger, and I wanted to do like a super recent one. So kind of in the middle of the range, I did 99 Problems. And like 99 Problems as a song is a absolute
Classic.
yeah.
One of the best one of the best hip hop songs of all time. I'm not even a huge Jay-Z fan.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't even listen to JC like that, and like everyone knows this song.
It is an unskippable song.
Literally, that's a great way to put it. So I had to do that. Just again, showing his impact to the culture is insane for the longevity and the success that he's had. And then the most recent one, which I actually took a step back. That's why I gave my little speech at the beginning. There's also like executive producers. And so they are the more hands-off people that understand a larger concept.
Yeah. They more act as like in this case for what you're talking about, I'm pretty sure Rick Rubin just asked as like a counselor to Kanye.
Exactly.
Kanye and I think he had Travis and a few other producers working on this too. So there's usually like a few different tiers of it on these huge projects. But
which is very true.
Yeah, which is why like I love the appeal of someone like a Dot the Genius who makes most of the stuff like just him. But yeah, man, everything you said is just perfect, right? Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I also think like it was fitting that you put "Hold My Liquor" in there because like that's kind of the role Rick Rubin fills nowadays.
Yeah.
Like, so I'll go with my 3 songs. The first one I picked was an old one, and it is I think it's pre-Def Jam. He produced "It's Tricky" for Run DMC, which is just another just unskippable classic hip hop song.
Right.
The other one I did, and this one's more modern, and originally I was going to put in Berserk by Eminem. And the reason why I wanted to do that one is because one, I think it's a great one, like a great song to listen to and be like, this is what Rick Rubin sounds like.
Okay.
Because like 99 Problems is a great example where like if you just put that on, like it just flows with any hip hop playlist. But if you listen to it right after a song like Berserk, you can definitely see the Rick Rubinism in it.
Okay.
And the other thing is that I do think Berserk is a very good song, and that album, the Marshall Mathers LP2, has 2 songs produced by Rick Rubin, and they're the only 2 good songs on the album.
I wonder how that happened.
But then when I was doing my research and I learned that he had such a hand in Ultralight Beam, putting
the best songs ever.
Yeah, putting the chorus together, recording the whole thing, which really does fit when you realize like how maximalist everything is. That's really the thing Rick Rubin did, was just how to make everything more.
Yep. It's a great way to put it.
And also, I feel like it's one of the ones that shows that like he's an artist, and like yeah, he has his sound, but he can deviate from it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put "No Sleep Till Brooklyn" by the Beastie Boys.
Yep,
Uh,
I'm aware.
just another. I think the Beastie Boys are going to go under a reevaluation that I'm not looking forward to. Because I
What,
love the Beastie Boys.
what do you
Um,
mean by reevaluation?
I think I think the fans of hip hop nowadays are less accepting to acts like the Beastie Boys. People who just want to make music and they chose to make it in the form of hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, which is interesting because like everything I've heard like about people at the time, like you know, older hip hop heads, interviews, everyone at the time seemed to really fuck with the Beastie Boys. Uh, but it seems like that's getting reevaluated, and it sucks because I love the Beastie Boys, and this is me saying, no, this shit is good. Like,
I've never had a Beastie Boys phase. I'll be honest. So
yeah, well, you're black, so.
exactly. So that explains why I've
But
never
I
had.
guarantee if you listen to No Sleep Till Brooklyn, you'd like it.
I'm 99% sure I already know the song. Like I
Yeah,
had an idea as soon as I read it. I was
yeah,
like, okay, I
yeah.
think I can picture the beat.
It,
But yeah.
and like the beat has a guitar in it. It's actually Kerry King from Slayer. One of the things I always found very funny was Slayer is like the thrash metal band. They are the your metal fans metal band. Uh,
Okay.
and Rick Rubin was producing Paul's Boutique with the Beastie Boys, right, and the Slayer's Rain and Blood at the same time in the same studio, like across the hall from each other.
Hmm.
And you know, no, Paul's Boutique had a lot of '90s hip hop artists all on it, right? And he talks about how Kerry King, like this defining figure in metal, walks in and like no one knows who he is.
Like literally, it's like, who's this guy?
Yeah, and like that's a Beastie Boys. Could you imagine if you walked into an NWA like studio? Like,
I mean, and that's another thing that I was gonna mention. Is like, yeah, I've never had a Beastie Boys phase when like, if you're saying they're being reevaluated, because I didn't know what you meant at first. That's why I was like, can you clarify? Like, I feel not that they were taking a joke. I don't think that's the right phrase at all. But I think they suffered from being in a genre that's based off a certain culture and not being able to actually relate to it.
yeah, yeah, no,
So
definitely.
like, I hear a lot of people, which I know when if me saying this, I feel like you're gonna get pissed off, and I think you are. But like, I feel like a lot of people hear Beastie Boys and try to compare them to somebody and say like Little Dicky, and I don't think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah,
But
no,
like,
I don't think that's fair.
exactly. But like, when you look into it, not that they were taking a joke, but like they suffered drastically from not actually being a part of the culture that the music. I won't say it's supposed to be dedicated for, but like it's traditionally more
Yeah.
focused on that.
Well, you know,
And so they were taken as a joke. So like, people were like, oh, they're Little Dicky, like they're a joke, and it's like, no, they actually did rap.
I don't know. Just from like what I've heard from like, yeah, I remember watching art like interviews with like Ice Cube and contemporaries of the Beastie Boys. Like I'm struggling to even think of names. The one name who won't leave my mind because I know he never said anything about the Beastie Boys is Tupac. Uh,
Okay.
but I just remember like hearing like people at the time like you know I don't think they were ever meant to be taken seriously. You know,
Exactly.
I don't think the Beastie Boys aren't the Little Dicky of their time. They were the Two Chains of their time. But here's the thing: can you be a white Two Chains? Like, I think that's a valid. No, I mean, like, but I think that's a valid question. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and the other thing that doesn't help them is that like they were a hardcore punk band before they were a hip hop. And I
So
feel
that
like
transition is
yeah, that transition. And like
nearly impossible.
now, I think a lot of people who like actually are in the trenches, like in studio, know that there are just people who like love making music.
Hmm.
So I think that's a big defense I hear of it a lot. And also, I'm just gonna be honest. The other thing that bothers me about like the reevaluation of the Beastie Boys is that they are coming. It's coming from white people. I have not heard a black person try to reevaluate the Beastie Boys because I don't think black people think about them.
I was literally about to say because we
Uh,
do not care.
yeah,
We do not care.
which is interesting because I think they do care when people really ape the culture, but I think that they were in on the joke enough that I don't think people had that big of a problem with it.
That is true, and
Yeah,
especially now, the thing is that they aren't actually have any influence now.
yeah,
I
no,
would
they
say
don't. I
so.
think
Like people now do not care.
there are like these rappers that are popping up, and they're like trying to do the Beastie Boys sounds, and none of them are very good.
Exactly,
None of them are
and
very
I don't
good.
know if it's because it's the Beastie Boys sound or because they're not
I
good.
think it's because they're doing. I think it's because they're doing it way too close to the original. I think if
Okay,
someone actually creative came in and like did like the evolution of that sound, I think it could be very very cool. But but then again,
I
like
gotta see it to believe
is the
it.
evolution of the Beastie Boys something like Brockhampton? Like
I don't know. I
I
don't know about that, Brandon. You might be reaching.
we're 2 hours and 15 minutes in. I'm gonna start reaching.
Let's say I don't know about that one, Chief. All right, let's wrap this up. Okay, we're gonna get to some of the old heads now.
Yeah, some of the old. Well, these
We're,
guys were around at
we're
the same time.
well, yeah, but I'm saying like at least compared to the rest of our list, I
Yeah,
think these are the oldest on both of our
I
lists.
think so.
So I'll just do mine. Mine is the one and only Dr. Dre. Um,
What is there to say?
I don't think you can't even like start to fathom the influence, the impact, the talent,
Yeah,
everything.
yeah,
He is still relevant. He was just in the Super Bowl show and basically organized all of it. This man has brought about so many goats
yeah,
in the industry.
yeah.
It's insane.
No, there's an entire section of hip hop that is just people who are associated with Dr. Dre,
Literally,
which includes
literally.
everyone from Ice Cube to Snoop Dogg to Eminem to 50 Cent to Kendrick Lamar to Anderson Paak,
Some
like,
of the biggest names in the culture.
and also pretty disparate, like not necessarily similar types of music, like
No, not at all. And different like different decades and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So
He
yeah,
he
I
he completely redefined the sound. I went with I kind of went with the classics with Dr. Dre because like how could you not?
I'm not mad at you
Yeah,
at all. I
I mean
did
we
too.
kind of all did too, but I
All
had
right,
I
let's
had to
hear 'em.
do California Love. That so good, so
Every
good.
single one of these are classics. It's insane.
Yeah,
It's actually insane.
and then one of the ones I wanted to kind of like step back and I'm like, okay, I wanted to listen to a song that yes, it's a classic. Yes, it's like one of the most obvious songs. But I'm like, okay, let me make sure to listen to one from before Dre was Dr. Dre. Like back when he
Okay.
was like hungry and trying to like trying to make this sound,
Right.
not
Get
perfect
his
it.
name.
And I did Straight Outta Compton. And it's just like boom, that's just like where it all starts. And like
Hmm.
I've listened to I went through a pretty big NWA phase when the movie came out.
Everyone do.
And I was always into Ice Cube. I've always America's Most Wanted has always been one of my favorite albums since I graduated high school. And I listened to like some of their earlier stuff, like Dope Man and all that stuff. Just doesn't hit like this. This is like where they found the sound and they ran with it.
Yep.
And
It
then I
really
was
is.
like, what's the modern version of that? What's the closest thing we have to the modern version of that? And I had to go with The Recipe.
Hmm.
Dr. Dre has a few contributions to that album, but The Recipe to me almost sounds more like a Dre song.
Yeah, it
And
does.
maybe because it's so as great as it is as good as the songs on Good Kid, Mad City, but it does feel very disconnected from the narrative of that album.
And it's good that it was disconnected because
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not that it would take away, but
No,
there was a point to deliver that message behind it.
100%. So, best of
And
both
having
worlds
that
for what I think.
exactly, yeah, absolutely, and having that as like one of the bonus tracks, I believe it's one of the bonus tracks. It just kind of it fits in perfectly with who is Dr. Dre, because on top of your three and the three that I'm about to list, I feel like out of almost everyone here, except for maybe your last one that we're about to get to, he is fully responsible for an existing sound. Like when I think of California music,
It's
it is
him.
Dr. Dre.
Yeah.
It's him. Like
Yeah.
he is responsible for an entire section of the world
And really,
for that genre.
like when you think about it, like when you think California music, it's like Dr. Dre, and like the only person you can really compare it to is like Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. Like, you know what I mean? Like
There's
it's
no
like
other comparison.
so no one out of California has ever like like it's all downstream from him.
Hmm.
You know,
No one can touch.
or someone that he's responsible for, like Snoop Dogg.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and you know what? I'll go as far as to say that I I think the difference between Dr. Dre and RZA is I think Dr. Dre completely created a new sound out of thin air,
Hmm.
and
He did.
which is a and I think what the RZA did is he took the general sound of hip hop and made it unique and regionalized it to New York, which I
Hmm.
think is obviously very very cool. I think the the aesthetic, the vibe the RZA has cultivated is as good as Dr. Dre's, but admittedly a smaller task than just
Okay.
creating G Funk. Like,
This is true.
yeah,
This is very true. Um. Okay. Well, I'll just go ahead and give mine real quick. I did Still Dre because that is his song. Like if you want to show someone a Dr. Dre song, you play them Still Dre. Um. I did an absolute old classic, Boys in the Hood with Easy
Boys in
E.
the Hood is always hard.
Wow. Like
So good.
when I think about a song like that, and you're probably gonna laugh, but the conversations I used to have with Matos would be about those songs. Like Matos would, and I can't tell too much, but like he would tell me stories of when he was in the military, and it's like that brotherhood, that partnership that you get when you're in the military, and like, because imagine being in like a jeep loading up ammo, and everyone singing "Boys in the Hood" or everyone
Jesus
singing
Christ.
"Jesus Walks." Like he was like, I'm like inputting bullets into my shotgun to like "Jesus Walks" or like to "Boys in the Hood," and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that is hard. Like that is the definition of hard.
That is,
So when I
yeah, yeah. He's
only a
storming
producer,
an enemy nation. Like,
literally, that's how hard it is. So only a producer like Dr. Dre can bring that oomph to a song where like that imagery, that impact, like it hits the soul. Um, and then my last song, you just brought up Snoop Dogg as well. Gin and Juice is an absolute class. Like you can play Gin
no,
and Juice whenever.
no denials there.
Like it's unbelievable.
Yeah. All right. So to finish off our top 12 producers, uh, weird number.
We will not be doing this many
Yeah,
next time.
we'll do it in fives now. Uh, we got the RZA from the Wu Tang
Wow.
Clan, which I don't know about you, but like Wu Tang has obviously it wasn't around like when I was coming up, but as soon as I started listening to it, I when I was like 19, I went through like a very annoying Wu Tang thing.
You said annoying, like
Yeah,
you were hard.
yeah.
Okay, I
Uh,
understand.
and I just think like, look, I think there's that. I've always associated like hip hop, or like before, like I was as into hip hop as I am now. I associated
Okay.
hip hop with like this, almost like this, like like this dark, almost haunted cityscape vibe, right? And
Hmm.
that's where RZA is where that idea comes from, right? And
Hmm.
you can definitely see. I think the RZA is certainly downstream. Like we just talked about how Dr. Dre has all those artists. There's two artists on here that I think are downstream of the RZA directly, and that would probably be the Alchemist and LP.
Hmm.
You know, they
Yeah,
just
I can
like
see it.
creating like an air like a It's like kind of creating an aesthetic for like the the more hard truths of hip hop to come out in, while also
Hmm.
being fun. That's the thing about the Wu-Tang Clan is that they have that dark vibe, but they're also very fun
I'm gonna
because
say it's consumable.
yeah, it's very consumable. It is not overly morose, but I do think like this is where that starts, and I understand like why from a business perspective people compare Dr. Dre to Diddy, but I
Hmm.
really think creatively, I think his opposite has always been the RZA.
Okay.
I admit his impact, his individual impact, I think on hip hop is a lot smaller than Dr. Dre's, but I think the impact of the Wu Tang as a collective is as big as Dr. Dre.
Yes, I
That's
will
what I
agree
would
with that.
say, and that's I think that's the other thing is that I wanted to highlight like a producer who I thought was like a he was a role player, you know, like he was part of a group and he did what he had to do to make that group as good as possible.
Hmm. And boy, did he do a good job.
Yeah, I mean it's Wu Tang.
About to say, and it's interesting. When you picked this one, it took me a second to kind of gather my thoughts because I knew you were going to do a couple Wu Tang songs, and I was like, I need to branch out and find some other stuff
Yeah,
because with me, I haven't had that phase yet. I haven't had the Wu Tang phase, and I feel like he is at the borderline of my extended knowledge. Like I can only go back so far and I only understand so much because some things just happened naturally before I was born or
yeah,
like before I listened to the genre. And I think he is right at that edge where I'm like,
yeah,
I don't fully understand the impact of
yeah.
everything, but I know why it's important.
Yeah, because it's like it's probably even like before Isaac's time.
Exactly. Like
Yeah,
it
so
was
like you
such
have
a long
no,
time ago.
yeah, and you know that's the interesting thing when we talk about older artists is because like, you know, we talk about. I think it's almost fair to say that we're like almost like a culture podcast because we're talking about like
Hmm.
what's happening now. That's like where we always kind of put our focus. But it is like a different like critical exercise like when you're looking at someone whose work has aged and in this regard aged very well, I'd say.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's amazing in its own right.
yeah. I
I
have
guess I'll just
yeah, I have nothing else to say about the RZA. He's a legend.
right. Say if I go through the songs, like I said, I tried to do kind of more stuff that I would recognize. I did "What Happens" by ASAP Mob. Have you ever listened to the Cozy tapes?
No, I think I've heard this song because
I
like
would highly recommend it.
yeah,
It's really good. I mean, the song by itself is amazing. The production is great behind the song. But I strongly, strongly recommend listening to some of the ASAP Mob albums because this is a great addition to it. And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of people in ASAP Mob is trickled down from that New York, Brooklyn kind of impact over on the East Coast. And what a better person to produce for you
yeah.
if you're out of that area. The second song I did was "Long Kiss Goodnight," which is actually a Biggie song.
Yeah,
So I went back and listened to that one. The beat is amazing. It's one of the more simple ones that I appreciate, and like a lot of people probably don't even know what this song is.
yeah,
And then my last one is "Molasses." As you know, I love me some Earl Sweatshirt. I think he fits in perfectly with some of the other Grammy rap that we've been talking about in that dark energy, that
yeah.
dark atmosphere. Molasses on Doors is amazing. That whole album is dark, and man, what a contribution did he have to this?
What's the door? Door that's his.
Or Molasses. Doris is the album.
Okay,
Earl Sweatshirt's album.
I've heard the song, but I am less versed in Earl Sweatshirt. I know,
I
I know.
yeah. Listen to Doris. I'm just gonna say that before I say anything else. Adore. I know we've hinted at trying to make one of these episodes about like, oh, like favorite Tiny Desk or favorite runs, like 3 song runs. Sunday Hive Chum is one of the best 3 song runs I've ever heard in my life. I'm just saying.
All right.
I highly recommend going to listen to those.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll do it. All right. So me, I just had to go to Wu Tang Classics, Protect Your Neck and Cream. Like
Because man,
these songs, like cre they created a sound. Like they completely made that sound that everyone would associate with Wu-Tang.
Yep.
And 36 Chambers just incredible from front to back. And the next one I did was off one of Kid Cudi's least listened to albums, Into Cud. I did Beat, which he actually raps on, and I think the RZA is a good, not great rapper.
Okay.
But he has production credits on it with Cudi, and I think it works. I think it comes off really, really well. And also, like, I remember watching like a Twitch stream with FD Signifier. Where he was talking about like nerd rap, but then it's like it's funny like hearing that, and then you go back, you listen to Wu-Tang, and they're referencing the Avengers like in 1995. Like, you know what I mean?
It's
like
true.
it's
It
like
is true.
like nerds have always been in hip hop. Like,
They have, whether you like it or not.
Oh my god, we talked about 12 producers.
We've been here for a while.
Yeah.
Should we do the recommendations?
Let's do our recommendations. Let's Irish goodbye. Let's get this done. Now, actually, I'm going to go first because one of my recommendations is a little bit of a walk.
Oh boy, here we go.
I did not think this through, but
just go on.
It is a No, it's a recommendation I'm extremely excited about, and I'm extremely excited to hear your reaction for it. So, I'm recommending the song "New Low" by the band Nightlife.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you, Purvis. When I say pop punk music, what do you think of?
Pop punk?
Yes.
Nothing. I don't think of anything.
Okay, so let me just break that down then. Punk is music, like rock music that's very fast, very aggressive, and played with very simple like instrumentation. Usually one guitar, one bassist, one drummer. Right?
Okay.
Pop music, pop punk, is taking those three ethos and using it to make pop music. Music that is enjoyable to the masses, right?
Okay.
This band, Nightlife, they only have one EP out with 3 songs. And what they are is they're calling themselves soul punk. And they are taking soul music and R&B and kind of filtering it through that punk lens of like,
I am saving this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to save it.
Yeah. Like,
I'm just going to save it.
So it's very vibey. It's, it's 3, black dudes from Baltimore. I was very upset because like they don't have much of a presence, and there's a bunch of bands named Nightlife. So when you Google Nightlife bands, you actually get like a jazz band that's here in Chicago. So for a second, I thought they were from here, and I was like, "Oh, sick!" But this band, I think they're doing excellent work. It really does sound like, honestly, less Frank Ocean in The Weeknd and more Miguel meets like pop punk, and it's really fun. And I've always wanted like people to like take that punk ethos and apply it to like other genres, and they're doing what I've always wanted.
Which is very difficult. We talked about this with Denzel Curry. It's not a lot of people like that that can introduce you to other genres.
Now I will say it's like 60% punk, 40% soul, but it's 60-40. It's almost half.
I will listen. I will listen. I will listen.
Oh, the whole,
you got me. I'm not gonna lie.
The whole EP is like 15 minutes long.
I'm looking at it already.
Yeah. All right, give me yours.
Okay. My first one might surprise you like a lot. It's not even a song in English, bro.
Yeah.
I listen, or let me correct myself because I need to give him credit where it's due. Eddie, the man we had on our show, talked me into listening to Bad Bunny. I don't listen to Bad Bunny at all. I don't know anything much about him.
I don't hate Bad Bunny.
I do you listen to his music though?
Not a whole lot, but
I have never listened to his music solely because of like I just don't listen.
The lyrical part of it, yeah.
Right. I mean, I used to practice Spanish, but I don't anymore. He had me listen to Un Coco.
Yeah.
He had me pull up the lyrics, bro. The song is amazing. I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the whole album now, but I listened to Un Coco by Bad Bunny, and like the lyrics, it starts off like almost like a club song, and then it just like almost cuts. It's like almost like a TV static, and then it cuts into like this very sad, very simple, like I think it's a guitar sample or something like that. And like the whole lyrics is about like it's almost like a love song or like getting over a loved one. And he's somehow like, and when it starts off and it's like in the party beat, he's like, I need to smoke this blunt to like to forget you or something like that. And when it cuts to the softer music, he twists the words around where it's like much more endearing. It's a good song. It's a really good song. I never thought
Yeah.
I would sit there and listen to like a song that I don't understand the lyrics, but like once you pull up the lyrics, it's amazing.
You should listen to Ocho Noche in Miami.
Okay, let me look this up.
Yeah, it's very good. All right, I have one of the most annoying recommendations in this show's history.
Okay.
Okay, I have because you're gonna have to dig it up on SoundCloud.
All right.
I have off the We Rare mixtape, the We Rare freestyle, Chance the Rapper and Little B.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
It's nonsense, but it's incredible.
Brandon, why were you listening to this? What made you? How did we get here? What were you doing at home to possibly find your way to the We Rare freestyle by Chance the Rapper and Little B?
It's been a hard couple weeks, man.
It's that's such a random song that's 7 years old that has no marketing behind it, no nothing. It just exists in its own space online. You have to go looking for this.
Yeah, I did. I had like one of the like little parts in it like stuck in my head.
What part?
I
I
think
need to
it's
go
like
listen to this.
when we rare, it means I'm feeling like Jordan when he's getting some air.
I cannot fathom. Nah, bro.
It's so good.
Nah, bro.
Do you hate this?
I just... Bro, I'm concerned.
You should just wait until
Bro, you can't get more off. Like, this is.
Yes, I can. Give me your second recommendation.
Okay.
I'm calling an audible. I had one that was embarrassing. Now I'm going with one that's very annoying.
This is tough. Brandon, this is tough. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead go through mine. I don't know how to pronounce this artist's name, but I found an artist on TikTok it's a song called Law of Recognition. His name is basically KYS Lingo. I don't know if it stands for Kill Yourself Lingo, if I'm being honest, or if it's like Kais Lingo, or Kiss Lingo. I don't know. But the song is really short and simple. It's a banger. It's so hard. It's got a very catchy chorus that like it's easy to repeat, and it has a beat switch. So it goes off into its own beat, and then it kind of like slows down to a chopped and screwed version of it, and it goes to the chorus again when it's chopped and screwed. Absolute banger. So hard. I highly recommend it. Now, give me your embarrassing song, Brandon.
No, I'm gonna go with the annoying one.
Okay.
It's called "Kill My Landlord" by The Coup. I'm not gonna say anything.
Kill My Landlord
By The Coup. Yes. Have you ever seen the movie? The one with Lakeith Stanfield where they become horses.
What?
What was the movie?
What's going on? You know I'm not a movie person, to be fair. So
you know who
if I
Boots
don't recognize it, it could just be on me.
You know who Boots Riley is?
No.
Okay. So he's like
But I'm looking this up, and it looks like they had something to do with the Sorry to Bother You soundtrack.
Sorry to Bother You. That's the movie I'm thinking about.
Okay. Oh
So
yeah. Oh yeah, at the end. Fuck, they turned
Boots
into a horse. It's
Riley.
such a random movie.
Okay, so Boots Riley made Sorry to Bother You.
Okay.
Boots Riley got famous by being in this rap group called The Coup, which is I can only describe as Wu-Tang Clan drowning in communist propaganda, and it's great. It's like
Jesus Christ.
it's like it is all Tupac B sides. You know how he got real political on those deep cuts. It's all
Yeah.
that. It's all that. Kill my landlord. It's pretty great. Like
Wow. Okay.
you're gonna have to post that on the internet.
I honestly think somehow this is less crazy than
The Little B one.
freestyle. It might be less crazy. At least you got the communism in it. I can see you going crazy about that.
Wait. Are you saying that the Little B freestyle is so crazy that the communism is the saving factor?
Imagine how. That's what I said. How did we get here? Where did we go the wrong way? All right, I will gladly close it out. Jesus Christ. The last song I'm going to recommend is in these like group of very small artists I've been finding. My brother actually recommended one of them when we was in Jamaica. He recommended Chris Patrick. Another person I found is Ryan Trey. Very low key artist on the rise. Highly recommend. The whole album is great, but there's one song called Night For, and it is an absolute banger with some really good bars.
Interesting.
Like I was highly recommended.
All right, Purvis.
Yes, sir.
We're at 2 hours and 40 minutes.
We've gone on far too long.
God, if you're still listening to this,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And you know what? As a reward, I'm gonna say my credit card number right now.